Welcome to another episode of the Strange Motion Way podcast. I'm your host, Tim Strange, along with my current wife,
Carrie Strange.
and we have an in-house guest tonight.
We do.
This has been, I'm going to say, the second hardest one to get, other than Eric Pratt, to get scheduled. He will not respond to me, but
he will respond to me.
He reached out to his wife.
Actually, I think,
right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Just,
we know how to get things done.
So we got this guy here. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. He's been very competitive demolition derbies. I've learned a lot from him. I met him at the TV studio. We worked together for quite a few years. He set a record when he left there as the longest TV guy at the Power Block and Power Nation. So that's pretty cool. Welcome tonight, Tommy Boshers.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Folks, friends.
Yes.
He's been here before, so we're going to get this out of the way.
Okay.
He came and helped me a couple of nights on a SEMA car, the 50 Fleet Line. And I remember you made him dinner. And he was sitting in there, and he was trying to be Mr. Southern polite guy. He was like only guy at the TV studio on film that was, I'd say, local, even though you lived a little ways away from the studio.
You were going to say
everybody's transplant. I was from Illinois, where there's Canadians everywhere. But Tommy sits here, and you feed him, and you make him chili, and you make good chili.
Well, I make better chili now that I did that.
You screwed the chili up, but he just like, and finally he's like, you don't have to eat that. He put his spoon down quick. The only person that ever did that quicker was your dad when you tried making him breakfast one time.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, it was just like hot ketchup. It was like there was no seasoning in it, and it's like, so you're still talking about how bad Barry's cooking.
And I said, I think I forgot to put something in it. And Tommy's face was just like, Tim goes, you don't have to eat that.
Bless your heart.
I know, I tried.
No,
I tried.
Yeah.
But I was, I mean, my ADHD got me that day. It happens.
So let's go back. There's a whole bunch of stuff. You've done all kinds of stuff in your career. Let's go back to little Tommy growing up in Middle Tennessee. Now, I had a Middle Tennessee local on here. So how big a school did you go to?
We had 90 in our graduate class.
Bigger 3 times my class.
Yeah. So, but the school was K through 12, all in one location. But it was still kind of small. Like, you know what I mean? Like
we've had people on here that's had like 800 people in their graduate. I wouldn't want to go to. You wouldn't know everybody. You knew everybody at your school.
Oh, you would know everybody.
No, I wouldn't.
Yes, you would.
I didn't talk at school. I didn't.
You would know everybody.
I had like 4 friends. I got like 4 friends today. So 2 of them are still the same too.
But you still talk to everybody, whether they like you or not.
This is true.
Yeah. So 90 in your graduating class.
So you want to know me as a little one? Well, we were blue collar. We were the type of people. My old man was the guy who always liked old cars, had an old car of some sort, but he was also a factory worker, and listening to him and as most of us grew up, the old men around you would tell you the war stories of the good old days. And so with that kind of like, I guess you say, distilled into me of that, like, I want to be one of them cool guys one day. And but with
how's that working out?
I'm on
figured it out.
I'm on an upward arch, but I got a long way to go. But with that, like the stuff my dad was fixing, a lot of times he was the guy that repaired his own stuff, because not necessarily that he had to. It was really because he wanted to, because he just wanted to fix his stuff. And so him having an old car around gave me actually an opportunity to work on stuff. And with Dad's cars, they were just average folks driveway kind of fix up. He patched them up in the days of really just like chicken wire and Bondo here and there, because that long ago having a wire welder was actually pretty expensive. So or pop rivets, and you just patch your car back up. But
I see my dad put cab corners on a square body more than once. A stick welder. And then 2 days worth of grinding.
Oh
yeah.
My horror story of that is watching my old man laid up under a car with a coat hanger and a brazen rod welding exhaust pipes together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but that was procedure back
Yeah.
then in a way, you know what I mean? So but with those cars that also gave me canvas to work on. Because if in a way when you're that young kid that's anywhere from 5 years old to 15, having the opportunity to work on something expensive is kind of like where we're at with our shop. My little guy Hammer, who works with me some, he works on some of it, but he also like it's. There's times that I get a little nervous because you go, man, if he scratches this car, this is $10,000 to fix the side of the car. So,
is your son's nickname Hammer?
Absolutely.
How did I not know this? How did I not know this?
Oh yeah, it's Hammer. Yeah,
it makes sense. That's a good nickname for him.
Right? Yeah. So, but as we're he's kind of great. He's just like
he's kind of great
sometimes.
He's I jump out of order here a little bit.
Yeah.
At Mo Party, I called him the business manager. When you were off and they're running the booth, he would take the money and he'd stick most of it in his pocket. And it was like she'd be like, "Give me some of that money," and he'd be like, "Give her $1." And it was like, he'll be rich someday. Yeah.
Brilliant kid.
Yep. And he's got some personality.
He's got a lot of personality.
Yeah. I've just told my kids that if you can't impress them with your intelligence, just baffle them with your BS, and then you definitely right from there.
Taken to that.
So that'll carry you a long ways, you know.
So what kind of vehicles did your dad have any older cars that he worked on, like for himself? Did he have anything like a Camaro or an old truck or anything like that? Or
yeah, he patched up a few 60 to 66 Chevys, and the one that really like made it for me is a 56 two-door post Chevy, and that was one of them. Like as a kid, that a lot of people are. It's fine where you put gas in it. You walk around the car like 6 times, and then they show you, and the tail light folds out of it, and you're just like, "This is cool."
It's still cool.
Yeah,
I'm a big truck guy.
You know, so I'm the guy that's now like a bucket list car is to have a 56 Chevy, and it just goes back to that car's.
There was one hidden behind a shed in town here.
Yeah,
I'll check on it.
I know the guy got it.
Well, he had 2, but I think somebody finally sold the one. The one was really bad. This one was savable.
Okay.
Then it may be a different.
So back to little Tommy. Okay. When you were in school, what kind of student were you? So it's funny because Kimberly is sitting over here laughing at her face.
Hammer might listen to this. Yeah.
I was kind of a quiet kid. I was also a kid from early on, I knew that I wanted to work on cars, and that's just what it is. So I was a kid that went to school and had dirty hands, and I remember getting made fun of having dirty hands. And when I was in high school, a situation happened, which was I was told from a teacher that I would never be anything if I didn't get a college education. And
I was told that because I had messy handwriting that I'd never amount to anything. It wasn't wrong, was he?
Right? No. Yeah. Let's get back to me.
Yes.
Really. So whenever I was told that, the way I'm wired is like, that's fine. Thank you for giving me encouragement. So I'm just basically going to outwork the rest of you. And I had another teacher that was an ex-military guy. And my graduating year was the first year that the state of Tennessee implemented. They had like straight to work or straight to college course. And when you went into a freshman in high school, they allowed you, depending on what course, you didn't have to take 5 stages of trigonometry and all this other stuff. So there were certain things, if you were planning to go to work, you didn't have to take algebra 7. So I remember in our class there with Mr. Stanage was his name. He said, all I can tell you guys is this state has screwed up, and what's about to happen in about 5 to 10 years from now, there's going to be a lot of educated people with a whole lot of debt and no jobs, because not everybody can be lawyers, not everybody can be doctors. So all I can tell you is, depending on whichever path you choose to go, be in the top to 15% and you'll have a job. So when he said that, I was like, okay, I just want to build cool cars and I want to build nice ones. So I've got to do whatever I got to do to kind of set that path. And some of it is, you early on, I was working with some guys with mini trucks because in all reality, that was another way. You can't build expensive street rides, but you can build a mini truck because you can cut your teeth on those and it's affordable. It's a $1,000 truck and we're going to make you cool and better. So, I learned a lot through that process too. But again, it's like you gotta have some drive and you gotta have something to actually practice on too.
And not be scared to go to school with dirty hands.
Yeah.
So did you have any auto classes in high school? Did your school have any auto? Did you take?
We had welding, and the welding was kind of a joke in all reality. The school I was into was very agricultural, and but for me, I was a gearhead, and I had guys and friends of mine that were mechanical, but they were far more farmer type. And there was a few of us that were say gearheads, and but I was still the outcast in a way of that. But not that it's an outcast in a derogatory sense, but you all have your jocks and blah blah blah, the multiple different layers of that ecosystem. But for me,
not ecosystem, ecosystem.
Yeah. But for me, I was also a guy that I didn't care. Like I've always kind of been that way of like, I'm not better than you, but if you're not helping me, you're hurting me, and your opinion doesn't matter. So I will listen to you, and I may learn from what you're saying, but I'm also always skeptical of anybody who gives me advice of like, is this for me or is this for you so that I don't do what you're doing? So you have to think past the statement that's in front of you. The ripple effect in a way. So, but that was kind of just how it was. Early on, I knew I was going to be a car. I wanted to build something cool, and I knew it was up to me to do it. It's like even finding after there, like after high school, you have to. I was working in factories and that kind of stuff, and then you meet the bride or your bride, the love of your life, and they kind of bring the next step in of like sitting with them and them asking you like, so what do you want to do? And you're like, this is a real question.
I asked him that every day.
Yeah. Well, she asked me at that moment and said, like, so what do you want to do with you? Well, where do you see yourself? And I told her, said, I want to build cool cars and I want to be known for it. She says, awesome. How do you plan to do it? And then you're like, shit, that's another good question.
I haven't figured that out yet.
I don't know. And then she says, sounds to me like you need to get some education. So
I know. That's a cat feeder. I'm in two places. There's really two carries here.
No, you don't need two carries. So, did you guys meet in high school? Same school?
No, it was kind of right after. Okay. I don't. You have to let her answer.
Before we move on from school, did you have any jobs in high school? Like, what was your first job? Like, paying job, or did you just always work on stuff for people?
My first job when I was a senior in high school, I worked at Murray, Ohio, which is a bicycle and lawnmower plant, full time while I was in high school.
Wow.
I worked at like a second, third shift job.
We're BMX people, bicycle people. So the Murray headquarters used to be that made bicycles was around. I didn't know they had a plant down there, and they had a big one in Nashville. Like so much so in the '80s, in the early '80s, there was a Murray World Cup. It's still the largest paying BMX event I think ever, and it was like '83 and '84. Like a couple guys walked away with $20,000 for the weekend. It was the Murray BMX team and everything. Sorry, sidetracked Murray. So I didn't know there was a Murray plant.
Yeah, there was a Murray plant in Lawrenceburg, which was the neighboring town. It started in '53 or '55, and they made bicycles there and lawnmowers, push mowers, riding mowers, and bicycles. So, but yeah, that was in high school. I did that. I was there would be days that I would wake up from working, knowing you sit up out of bed and you go, "What's my first class?" I'm going to sleep. I
What were you driving in high school?
A 63 two-door Impala.
Oh, I knew that. I forgot that.
Yeah. And I still had it.
Yeah,
Still have it.
I forgot that.
So that was part of it. Like the story with this car, my first car is my old man. The neighbor had the car, and he raced it. It had 327 and nitrous in it and all this stuff. And he had owned it for quite a while. And he sold it to his brother, and his brother started to restore it. And the brother then decided he didn't want to sell it. And I was up there playing as 12, 13-year-old kid and asked him what they were going to do with the car. And he said, sell it. My dad worked second shift. When he come home, I told him. He said, cool, tell him we'll take it. And the next thing you know, we're dragging it home and we're piecing this car back together. And my dad, at a point, kind of hits money got a little tight, and he was just said he was going to sell the car. And I asked him if I was going to get a cut of it because I had a lot of time and effort in this car. And he said, "And that's
where your son learned."
And he said he couldn't sell the car. And so, whenever I turned 16, he gave me the car. And but with that, it's kind of that's a great learning experience because I had sweat equity in that car. And like, don't get me wrong, I put 4 or 5 motors in this thing, and we have never broke the speed limit in it. Every time the motor blew up, it was, at the light.
Tommy's been known to be a little full of crap too.
So, but what's great about kind of a shiny car that you're proud of, you learn economics, you learn what hard work is, you learn like budgeting, like all this different stuff that you kind of don't think about, like making decisions we should build this car faster and put more power in it. And the next thing
I'll eat peanut butter next week instead of
my situation was like, yeah, this is great. And then fuel mileage cuts in half, and it already went from 11 to 5, and you got to burn premium.
Like I did with my Chevelle.
So you're like, I remember one day, we put 456 gears in it, and we had it in the shop jacked up. My old man was great in a matter. He would never really tell me no, but he would like, well, you might decide you don't like those. And I'm like, you're out of your mind. This is going to be amazing. And so you put those in it and you're driving to town. But
it was amazing, wasn't it?
Thinking about
it was amazing.
And then whenever you're supposed to be home in 12 minutes and you're like, well, it's 20 minutes. I'll just go faster. And with 456s, you just can barely drive the speed limit. So you go.
And you might need to stop at a gas station.
Right. So you're like, oh, this is not good. And then in about, 2 weeks or so, it's back in the shop and you're pulling the gears out of it. And your dad goes, what are you working on? And he's just like, well, I'll be in if you need me. He let you let you learn. You learn, and that's one thing my old man was really, really good about. There's things that I was doing at a very young age. When I was 14-ish, my dad had a Chevelle, 68 Chevelle, that he was restoring, and we were just, let's say, bench racing. And he goes, yeah, we'll end up like pulling the motor out of it and painting the firewall, and because he was in the process of doing body work on the outside. And I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Dad leaves to go to work around lunch. The next morning, Dad comes home from work. I'm out piddling in the shop. He walks outside and he's like, what the hell did you do to my Chevelle? This was a running, driving, operating car. And while he was gone, I pulled the front cap off of the car, and the motor and transmission was laying in the shop, and the Chevelle was pushed outside. I said, what do you mean? You said you wanted to paint the firewall. And I was 13 or 14 at the time. And so he's like, well, I guess we can now, And he didn't get mad. He didn't like lose his mind. But I still step back and think about it. It's like, I was 13 or 14 years old, pulling the motor out by myself in the shop, no supervision. And if Hammer was to do that, I'd wring his neck.
If you did that, your dad would ring her.
Yeah.
In his car.
Yeah, he would tell me like to do something before he got home from the shop. But if I did pulled a motor out that he wasn't really planning on pulling the motor out in the next month, yeah, I'd probably, I'd been living down by the creek.
Yeah, it was a big deal. But my old man gave me numerous times to fail. And I've said this before, but the failure gave me an opportunity
Did
to
you ever
succeed.
think about this with my dad? Did you ever think he just let you do that because you were cheap entertainment? And like, oh, I'm not gonna go to the movies this week because let's see what this dumbass is doing. So I built my 54 the first time. I was 19 into 20 when I started building my purple 54. I think we have it on behind us. Tube chassis, the whole thing. And I remember I was in my dad's tractor shed and I was working on, I'm bending tubing, all this stuff. I built all the suspension, everything. My dad and a buddy walked through and I heard them back there. I've said this a few times on the podcast. I don't remember who it was, Don Rule or something. How does your boy know how to do this? My dad goes, he don't. He's just not smart enough to know he's not supposed to. And I'm like, some truth to that, but I'm not really sure it's a compliment. Like, but see, this dumbass is doing. He's buying a lot of tubing over there. Yeah, but yeah.
But that's what it takes. Like, you got to be willing to try, and that's people now say, wow, man, how do you get started in this? You got to get past yourself. You got to get out there and give it a go because, I humbly say I know I've got an elevated skill set and it comes from screwing a bunch of crap up, because when you screw
I dumped some stuff in a scrap bin today that I screwed up. Yeah.
And two, to some aspect, I don't mean to belittle anybody else out there, but it also comes from being semi-poor because it forces a way. When you want something and you want it bad enough, you just can't buy cool stuff. You have to make it. And my stuff wasn't as cool.
Or do something sketchy to make them.
Right.
Well, I really got to buy this coilover shock. I can't make a shock. So, yeah.
Right. Or you figure a way of like, yeah, I'll take this coilover shock from. I mean, people did that with motorcycles and put them on race cars and stuff. Like, in my head, that still doesn't make sense, but it worked. Motorcycle wheels on the front of them. And going, so you're going to drive this 112 miles an hour and it's going to be safe? They're like, yes. No. You know what I mean? But again, it kind of forces.
It's okay. I got a helmet.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But you have to dare to dream a little bit and then go put it in motion.
Yeah.
So.
And you don't know unless you try.
So then you're working at the factory. How long were you there?
I wasn't there terribly long. I kind of bounced around.
Where are you now?
I'm 36.
Are you really?
No. Please, actually, you live for 36. Are you so old? How old are you?
46.
Okay.
So now I don't look
still a little younger than I thought, but
yeah.
I thought you were closer to my age. 50.
70.
What? I was gonna say, girl, you like 26, right?
Parts ever are. Sorry.
You're so funny.
I amuse myself.
Yeah. Apparently a lot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So how long did you work at the factory?
I worked at a couple of factories, and while I was working at those factories, because in some of this stuff, it was also a learning experience as well. There was guys that I met. One gentleman was retired twice from the same plant. I know.
Just because he'd been there so long? Is that what you mean?
Worked there, retired.
When people used to be able to retire after 20 years of a job.
Yeah. And so he had 43 years in. He retired, left for a few months, come back, retired again, left, and then come back to work part-time just because.
Yeah.
And so in that, the guy's name was Benny, super nice guy, knew everything about this plant as you could imagine.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
But it also scared me to death because I said, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be doing that because there's nothing wrong with it.
It must not have been a bad place because if you're going to work in a crappy place for 46 years, but sometimes you didn't want to get comfortable.
Yeah, he didn't know any different than that plant. And which, that stuff, like factory work in all reality to me is like it needs to be here because that's a good, strong blue collar style and the mid economy is strong. But
my dad worked at a factory years later after he always farmed too. But if I ever had to work a factory, I'd want to do what he did. He was a maintenance foreman.
Mm.
Maintenance guy worked their way up because then every day's different. I couldn't be a guy that sat in a cubicle or sat on an assembly line. And we had a friend, she made bank working at a refrigerator place, and she put stickers in the inside of a.
But there's some people that's what they're built for.
Yeah.
Like that's where their
Yeah.
brain is. And artistic people normally are not that type
Yeah.
of people.
Right.
So yeah, people that have that creativity gene can't do that kind of thing. But you know, the world does take all kinds to go around. So I'm
Because-
glad those people are here. It's just not me.
Sometimes that
Yeah.
job, what is great about it is you get to punch in, punch out, and you don't take none of that home with you.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you just like, give me my check on Friday, the check don't bounce, and you may sweat or you may not. You just show up and you get paid.
Yep.
Mhm.
You know, that's kind of like the people who live for the weekend. And it's because during the week, that's all they're doing. Is,
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're just being a robot. They
Yeah,
just shut
for
it
the
off
weekend.
and
Yeah.
do it.
And that's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. But sitting there in that, it made me go, it helped me see that I wanted more than just this.
Were you married at the time?
Mm,
Which we look over there. His wife is sitting over there. She did not want to be on camera, and she's shaking, and this, and then.
yeah, no, I don't. No, I guess not. If she says no, I'm going with what she says. So, but yeah.
So you left the factories, and then where did you go? Because you worked at some body shops before.
Worked at a high ride shop.
Oh yeah, you worked for Street Rides by Michael.
Yeah.
So that's a drive to go from where.
Yep.
We don't have to say where you're living if you got.
Yeah, no, I don't
people.
care. It was 53 miles.
Yeah.
To there.
I have Michael's Olmax. I got that. Rose offered it to my friend Brian as first, and he passed on his first choice to me, so I have it Olmax.
Cool. You know, right out or when I went to trade school, whenever we had this conversation with my wonderful wife that's sitting over here, and her saying, you know, so how are you going to do what you're going to do? And I was like, I don't know. And then she said, sounds like you need to get some education. So you start digging in education, and as that stuff starts developing, you start realizing how much education can you afford if you're the guys that have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, you had Hot Rod U, you had YO Tech, and all those. And
Where was Hot Rod U at? Was that in Ohio? Was that you? I don't remember. I think okay. Anyway, UNOH that used to come to the studio. That was that Hot Rod U at that place?
no, I don't know.
What's Hot Rod U in Alabama?
No, that was VC Tech that was
Oh.
there. I was on advisory.
If anyone out there knows where Hot Rod is,
Yeah.
let us know. It's
Yeah.
handy. But after just digging into that, I'm like, cool. I can't sign up. At the time, it was like $15,000 or $20,000
Yeah.
a year, and
That's why I didn't go to Wild Tech because I couldn't afford Wild Tech.
so I couldn't afford it. And so the next best was here in the state of Tennessee. They have the Tennessee Techs, and so I looked into those, and there was two body shop schools, and they were both an hour apart from where I was at. So I just decided at the one that in Shelbyville, Tennessee, and went there, and the instructor that there was great, and he was my kind of instructor. There was guys in this course that had been in front of a judge that they had you can go to jail, you can go to prison or jail, military, or school.
Mhm.
You pick.
We had that. I went to Scott Community in Bettendorf, and we had guys just like that, and we had some that just got out of jail, and the state of Iowa, because it was just cross border, was helping them go to school. So,
Yeah.
So they have multiple campuses: Houston, Orlando, Chicago, Phoenix, and California.
was Hot Rod U?
Rancho. That's what it says.
Is it still even in business?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I had no idea it was that big.
But as I was going through the trade school, Michael from Street Rides by Michael Young, reached out to them and said, do you have a guy we'd look for an apprentice? And at the time he said, yeah, I only have one kid, and it was me. And so I went early and started co-oping.
You were listening to your high school guy or being your top 15%.
Mine is the way it was, is I was here. I was spending my money to go to school, and I said, I'm getting my money's worth.
Yeah, I did the same. I
I think
had
I
the
was
teacher
wrong.
staff
I
or
don't think it
teach
was
me
all over the
letting,
places.
all that type stuff, and then you just sidetracked me.
Sorry. I'm not finding it.
But yeah, but then also that was my point. We go to talk to we have a great auto program here, high school auto program, and you go to talk to the kids, and there might be one kid out of 35 you're talking to that knows what a hot rod is. So you were probably the hot rod guy at the auto body, so the hot rod shop wants the hot rod guy. Yeah.
Like mine is what I'd went into is I told myself when I was looking into the fancy schools was because the hot rod schools sell you on them because they tell you custom paint, how to chop a top, how to channel this because that's the sexy stuff. But for me, I said it doesn't matter if you're working on a Buick LeSabre or a 51 Merc, the fundamentals are the same. And if I can get the fundamentals, I can grow off of that. So going there for to get my basics, I was trying to get any and everything I could, and so that made it like it helped that next step. Which going to work for Mike was also
which if people don't remember, I don't know if it was at that time or was that over. He used to do was on ESPN2 back in the day. That Street Rodder TV, Street Rodder magazine. He was the shop that they filmed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Street Rodder TV for at least like 3 seasons. They built like a fiberglass street rod, and it was always Street Rods by Michael. Yeah. This is probably in
Rapid City,
90s.
South Dakota. Who the hell wants to go there?
No, that's the new Hot Rod U. That the guy that started the WildTech program. That's Doug LaRue's Hot Rod Institute. That's his current one.
Well, I can't find the other one. Anywho.
Yeah.
All right.
So you got it done with college. How long was your college program?
18 months.
Yeah.
And 14 or 15 months into it is when I went. Then you could co-op out and go to work somewhere, and so I went to work for Mike, and that was like the beginning of like opening your eyes to what hot rods really were. And there was days that I remember doing grunt work. They would build chassis and they'd they would flame torch chassis out, and then they'd tack and weld them together. And then I had the job of grinding all the welds. And one day I was in the shop working and it was too loud. So they put me outside, and I was outside. I remember I was so hot with that face shield on that in the second day there was rust in the bottom of that face shield for me sweating and that metal collecting in it, but I was loving every minute of it. And I also remember Mike coming out and telling me how to grind a chassis, and I was listening to him and doing how he was wanting to,
because he built his rails.
Yeah, it was
like the Roadster shop does now. I mean, there's a lot of people that do them. He was.
It wasn't tubular. It was he would
4 sides, weld it, and then you grind the welds on all 4. Right.
Yeah. So at that time, he was, you need to do this, you need to do this, and I listened to him. Yeah, you're right. And then after he walked away, I said, I'm going to do it my way. And he come out and he yelled at me, like he's supposed to, and that's fine, because that's how I am. Like, I'm an no BSer kind of guy. Just shoot me straight. He come in and he gave me down the road, and then I asked him. I said, "Can I try it? And then if you come out here and it's wrong, I'll work for free. But I think I can do it faster." And he's like, "Sure, whatever. You do it your way." So he goes back in, and then that's like, he gave me the go ahead. I'm fixing to show him. And hour or two later, he come back out there and he said, "You've done this much this fast?" And I said, "Yep." And I showed him how my steps were. And he goes, nobody's ever ground a chassis to look this smooth before. And all it was is on that seam of that weld is I'd use a rock almost all of the way. And then I'd use a flap wheel to get it almost smooth. And then I'd use the big 7-inch super flat thing that was like a sanding disc. And I would just blend it from one end to the other. And whenever I was done, it was that hologram that went all the way down the whole length of it, and top bottom all the way around. And that's when he goes, "Yeah, you just keep you just do what you're doing." And but they wound up moving me back in, not because they were like, "It's too hot for Tom out there. It's because the amount of metal I was putting on their pavement was rusting their pavement.
Yeah.
And they were like, we can't have this. We just had this coated. And so they moved me back in. But it was also one of them instances that it forced like elevated because he gave me that opportunity to like show him. And so, yeah, but and that grunt work.
And it was cool working there as a young kid.
Oh man,
there.
It was so cool. Like you get to walk around and see all the shiny, cool cars.
Yeah, they build good stuff.
Yeah, you know,
magazine stuff, word stuff, good street rod shop. Mostly street rods, right?
Yeah, at that time. That's really all he would do. You know, it was all in the heyday of pre-48. That's all you could do.
But I just searched. I just seen something out of my.
It was me. I was captivated. So end up, it happens. But yeah, no, it was great working for. And also, I remember like he may have helped set the hook in a way. I guess you'd say second or third day there. There was a 46 Ford that was called. They called it the Tubster, and it was a 34. No, I'm wrong. 36, 37 Ford sedan that they had put a Carson top on it, and it was chopped. And it was chopped a lot, and we had to jump it off. And when we got it finally fired up, he said, "Take it for a ride." And I was like, "No, I don't want to take it for a ride." He said, "No, you need to. The battery's low. Just take it for a ride." I said, "Well, where do I go?" He says, "Be gone for 30 minutes." So third, fourth day on the job, I'm riding around in this expensive finished car, and I was going, "This is what this is freaking awesome." So I remember pulling back and him coming out and saying, "So how was it?" And the whole time, like I'm feeling like I'm somebody, but also I'm scared to death. Like if this dang thing dies, I don't know what to do because it's gonna be like this is before like you have to walk back to the shop, so you don't want to get too far, but you're also like I don't want to get very far. I want people to see me. Yeah. So, but that was another like one of those instances that you go, man, this feels good, and it makes you want to not want nicer things and build things like.
Sometimes I forget that too. You work, and it's like, oh, let's take the hot rod for dirt. Oh, this is fun. This is why we started doing this.
Yeah. It's called drinking the Kool-Aid.
Is that what it's called?
You want
I
more?
drank a bunch of Kool-Aid. Yeah, it's good. Like, and it's like we work on this stuff all the time, and you're right. Like sometimes just that wind in your hair, you step back, and it feels right.
Yeah. So during this time, if we're not there yet, we'll come back. When did you start getting into demo cars? Was you into demo cars yet at this time? Like I was around demo cars in high school, then I wasn't. And then her dad was, and then
I worked at another shop, and one of the guys there was into it, and they just kind of like you're running with your buddies and the guys you're hanging out with, and they start making decisions for you, meaning like exposing you to this type of stuff.
So let's finish up at Street. How long were you at Street Rods by Michael?
Probably 2 years or so. I worked for another guy. They kind of split. The Street Rods by Michael built street rods, and then they farmed out the paint work. And we were in a building across from him, and that's where I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed paint and body work.
I got tired of grinding welds on the frame all day long.
Dude, I say that, and then I remember color sanding a 34 sedan, and it was 107 degrees in the shop, and like in the shade with a fan on you, you're dripping, and going. I remember then going, I don't know if this job is really all that good, and coming home and your lady going, what did you do today? Because it was single staged, half mixed with clear, but it looked like you had worked at the butcher house because everything you had was red all over you. And but again, like that's the stuff that creates you in a way that helps mold you into who you are. It's like there was sometimes you got to have bad jobs to know what good jobs are. And some people want to complain about a bad job, and they've never, or complain about a good job, and they've never had a bad job.
Yeah.
So
being a farm kid, I had a lot of bad jobs. So it's like,
mhm.
if I get mad, I'm
Character
scraping undercoating above my head. I'm not killing rats with the pressure washer washing out the hog confinement building. It's like, this is way better than that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Sure. So you left Sure Odds by Michael and you went.
Okay, how all this happened. I was working for the guy at the paint shop, and I'm not saying I was the best employee, but because I don't want to take away, because I really wasn't. I wasn't working as hard or even as many hours as I should. But I was also not making very much money.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember asking him about a raise, and he had pretty much said that I topped out. And I said, okay, cool. And then that next week, I found a job selling parts.
It doesn't give you much
Drive.
future hope and drive when you've been there
a couple of years.
And I'm topped out.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Yeah.
And so I wound up finding a job I went from 53 miles to 12 miles and a 25-cent pay cut. And I go,
that's a raise.
Big raise with all the fuel difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just went home and I was selling parts. I was just working at one of the local independent stores. And at that time, when I was still working for the paint guy up there beside Mike, I was doing side work, doing mini trucks and that kind of thing. And I said, well, this just gives me more time to do that.
Yeah.
Instead of driving 2 hours every day, I can put in a little more time here and that. So that's kind of how that worked. And then after working there at the parts store and then building some mini trucks, and we done well with some mini trucks. We had a couple of magazines and a lot of features and that kind of stuff with some guys that I knew.
A lot of hot rod guys got their start
Mhm.
in mini trucks.
I got.
I want to build her an S10. She doesn't.
So you're kind of
She wants a wagon.
You're an Susie kind of guy.
Yeah.
It's the haircut. Subaru. The Subaru haircut.
Outback. Yeah.
Just bought shoes for the desert.
I did.
Yeah.
He's like, he came home tonight. He goes, "What are these?" I said, "For the desert. Leave me alone."
Anyway.
Not digging that hole.
Yeah.
Not at all. So that's when I was working at the parts store, doing what I was doing with some of the mini trucks. Is Kevin Tate's was working for a television company, and he was a local guy. He had
And that's when he was on. Wasn't Power Block yet.
He was on DIY.
DIY. I was going to say
And,
FYI. No, DIY.
He was on DIY, and then he actually had moved to the other. He was working both of the two television companies, and he stopped in there at the parts store one day and says, "Aren't you the guy, the local dude that's doing some mini trucks?" And conversation started, and he said, "Stop by sometime." So we did, and at that time, one of the studios he was working at, there was a guy who he was working with that had some health issues, and Kevin was having to do basically way too much work. He's having to write, edit, work on the car.
What was that guy's name? I don't remember. He was a big muscular guy, but I never met him. I forget his name.
Paul something.
Okay, yeah.
Paul something. And so when that happened, next thing you know, he approached the owners of the television company and asked about getting some help, and they said, "Sure, find somebody." And
so, do you think Kevin looked at you and says, "This is a good-looking guy to be on TV," or do you think I could talk this guy into doing all my hard work for me? You think? I know Kevin. He's Canadian. He's shifty. So.
You're not supposed to disclose certain things about certain people.
I'm gonna go with that. Yeah.
No,
he's not here to defend himself.
Kevin, we've talked. Kevin's the reason I'm in Tennessee. We're in Tennessee.
That is true.
I owe a lot to that guy, and I'll tell him every time.
Us too. Yeah.
Kind of deal.
Great human, great guy.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah.
He won't let me thank him, and but he knows. Like I guess you could say.
Yeah.
He's complimentary of me, and I'm very complimentary of him.
Mm-hmm.
But he was kind of the he gave me the opportunity to go to work for the television crew.
And it's still, you're still living down there, so it's still a long drive.
Yeah, it wound up being about 56 miles going back and forth. And the way it worked up there,
never breaking the speed limit. I
Right,
drove
yeah.
with Tommy. He abides, very law-abiding driving person.
Yeah. And when I first started,
Not supposed to lie on here either.
right.
That wasn't one of the rules we say before. You can totally lie on here if you want.
Good.
Allegedly.
If we told the truth, it'd probably be pretty boring.
Right?
Yeah.
But when I went to work for the television crew, when I first got started, they said, "You're not going to be on camera, and all we're going to do is you're just going to be a hired wrench." And that's sure not a problem.
And
And
behind the scenes.
behind the scenes, I was, and they said, "We're just going to hire you part time." So I said, "Sure, I can." I'm working out of my shop. At that time, I was in the process of stepping away from the parts store and just running the shop.
Mm-hmm.
And
And you step into the studio, and I remember going there, and it's like, I've been running my shop for quite a few years when I'd done it. I was mad at customers, so I volunteered on a show, and then I put my hat in for the other one. And you go there, and it's like, they got heat and air, they got lights, they got nice bathrooms, and it's like,
right.
it's like, look,
Yeah, this ain't too bad.
yeah.
Yeah, and it really was.
Was it
kind of way
when you started there? Were they at the building that I worked at? Because I know they moved around town. They were at that.
Yeah, it hadn't been there but like a year.
Yeah, so people didn't. It's like a 50-some thousand square foot facility. I mean, state of the art.
Yeah, at that time it was pretty high up in the food chain. You know, they were having all the best of everything. Because in all reality, and
Pat Topolinsky works there still. Now he still calls it Disneyland because he'd been on the road as drag racing and stuff, and he goes, the motor show is the moneymaker. They have dynos and engine, all that stuff, and engine dynos and chassis dynos, and he goes, I get to play with all this stuff, and they give me a check. He's like, I've been there and done all that other stuff, so. So you were behind the scenes on all the shows or just Kevin's?
When I first got started, it was primarily for Kevin's, and they said, "We're just going to,"
which was the trucks TV show,
and we'll just call you when we need you. First week I worked 3 days. The next 6 weeks I worked 5 days. And
good part-time job.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so.
And were you married at this time?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because Ellie was. Yeah, it was close.
Close.
Yeah, it's
so you have
married to her. It's just this like blur of awesomeness
of rainbows and bunnies.
No, it's hard to separate. Yeah. Like, how do you separate a great time from a really good time?
Yeah,
like that's hard to do.
I mean, in the rare occasion that we did finally meet your wife, it's like, how did Tommy get her? She's just awesome. I wouldn't say that. I would say that even if she wasn't sitting there.
She's kind of like me in a way. Like I really like fixer-uppers.
You calling your wife a fixer-upper?
No, she.
Stop.
I said she's kind of like me. She likes fixer-uppers.
Oh, she's that makes way more sense. Yeah.
Oh, calm down.
Like she can't leave a stray dog along the road either. So yeah, that's more like it right there.
It's hard.
So did you have a kid at this time when you were starting there?
No, that come later. We were celebrating. Another show.
Yeah.
But
all right, so you're back to working. You're part-time working 5 days a week,
right? And Joe St. Lawrence, the guy who started that place, says, Tom, it's pretty handy having you around here because you can weld, you can fabricate, you can wire, you can paint, you can like.
Because allegedly, not everybody behind the scenes could do what they could do on the camera. Most of them could. There was some.
Yeah, there was.
Rest in peace, Mr. Joe Elmore, but could not weld, but great TV guy.
Oh, yeah.
Great TV guy, just awesome guy. I've got stories of him that I cannot say on here. And rest in peace, Joe Elmore. But he admitted, he goes, I'm a TV guy,
right.
Like a TV weatherman. But he was awesome. But like, I've ever seen him put a cylinder head on a car.
Right.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, like that was one. I worked with Joe for a year or two. And that was one of them. I told myself again, is if I can just pick up the crumbs that this man drops, it will make me better at what I do.
Yeah.
And
because being a car person, we could prove ourselves with our hands. but doing it with a camera in your face and be able to remember some lines, that was a learning experience. And Joe Elmore was the greatest to learn from. And Kevin had done a lot of TV. There was a lot of great TV people there.
And you saying that, one of the things that helped me the most, which I don't mind telling it, but when I first started working up there and I was just that guy and they offered me the position, and I remember in the negotiations, I said, basically, I will come to work for you. You just got to pay me enough to come to work for you. Mm-hmm. That's just how it works. I got my shop, it's rocking and rolling, but this is an opportunity and it's just financial. So if it works, makes sense for you guys, it can make sense for me. And so we come to an agreement and I come to work for them. And at that time, I was the guy that was, when I took the place, they told me, you are not on camera. Mm-hmm. You're just a guy to help assist everything. And at that time, I was completely content with it because for me, I had my own little studio / shop with my own tools, my own lift, and I would work on a car. And then the next week, that car would go away and a new car would come in and I would advance that car.
And all cool stuff.
Yeah.
And all ranges of money wise and horsepower and body style. I mean, all kinds of stuff through there. I mean, it's.
Yeah, you could pick up the phone and call the owner or the lead tech guy of so many companies, and they were willing to help you on working through the problem, or like, oh, that's the problem. Let me just send you 3 other ones, and this is either one of these will fit, and it'll make you go.
Because that's what some people don't know. When you work at a TV show like that, and they're sending parts, they want their latest and greatest by the time that part hits the airwaves.
Yeah.
And I remember we R&D'd a lot of stuff for a lot of people. It's like, oh, that does, like you just said, that doesn't really work. Or if it was bad enough, we had a computer problem. They sent a tech from the factory to come to be on the show, but not really say why he was here because we had trouble with it. But we were prototype shop for a lot of companies there.
Me and Mike Galley on the Engine Power show, or that's what it was, Horsepower TV then. I remember we put 4 camshafts in 4 days. We'd put a camshaft in, dyno it, send them, and then.
And you can't really show the bad stuff on TV because those are your sponsors.
These weren't bad. They said we would dyno it and then send them the numbers, and they said, "Oh, that's not right. We wanted this." At the time, we didn't really put it together that we were R&D and camshaft for them.
Yeah, and giving them the data.
And when we got done, Mr. Saint come in and he said, "Guys, we're done. We're R&D in this for this company, and they can either pay us for this." Or they.
And you didn't care. You were getting paid to do all this stuff.
Like, oh, cool! I get to put this game in.
See what this one does.
Yeah. So, that was a part of it. But watching all these guys, and there's a lot of talent that was in that building.
Yeah. And I'm going to say, because the front of the house didn't really realize the talent. There was a time when Rick Bacon left, amazing painter, which I ran into him at SEMA twice. He's doing great. Yeah. And anyway, when he left, they had Camo Chris. Why don't you do that? So I can't paint like that and airbrush. I can't airbrush like that. I'm a good painter, and I can't pinstripe and stuff like that. Not worth a crap. Rick was amazing artist. And they're like, well, you're just all mechanics. Can't you just all mechanic? That was said from the front of the house to the back of the house. And that was and I was only there 2 years, but I was like, they don't really understand that person is top of their game. That you go to the next studio, they're at the top of their game. And then you go down to Ian and he's at the top of whatever game he's in. Everybody there is like you say, there's a couple guys there I didn't get along with.
Yeah.
But he was still good.
Yeah.
He's good at what he did. There was amazing people in there. There's still amazing people there. But
it's while I was working there on it, like at first I was okay with it. I was okay with just doing what I was doing. And then after working for a while, humbly I said, I can do anything that these guys are doing.
And then you're like, and that comes with a little more money too.
Right? Yeah. So it's like you start seeing it, and then there was also there was times that I would work on certain cars and I was fixing the hostess problem. They were building it incorrectly or screwing stuff up. And then having the conversation with the main man, and he's like, "Tom, just fix it, man. Just fix it." And then it would, things would start going on, and then they were like, "Why don't you change that?" And one of them was like, "Oh, that looks better. This is cool." Didn't just clueless to what was going on. you know, but even in that entity or instance, it made me, I'm a studier. It may not seem that way. Don't judge me. But I was studying the host, and with that, it made me go, I don't mind. I want to be like that guy. I don't want to be nothing like this guy because it almost let me develop a character or for me to like figure out who I wanted to be. And then after you start pursuing some of that, like one of them, I had numerous people and numerous hosts tell me, "You won't ever be here, Tom. It's because of your accent." And that was infuriating.
Which you were the only local accent because everybody else was from someplace else.
And that was my point, because when they said you would never be anything because of your accent, I said everybody in this dang place has an accent, but mine's a Southern.
Yeah.
And so he's like, 3 of them was like, "Oh, sorry, just how it works here." And so I was like, man, that sucks. So I talked with another guy who was like a mid-level producer, and he told me, he's like, well, maybe you need to, like, if it's something you really want to pursue, go into like a speech coach. And so I was like, all right, well, that's possible.
I had to do that in grade school. I couldn't send my alls very well.
Probably still can't.
Sometimes it comes right back. Yeah.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I totally understand. But wound up.
So some people are thinking right now, your accent used to be worse.
Yeah. Rick's got a story of he was flying to or from somewhere, and he sits down, and the guy looks over and says, "Hey, you're that dude off that TV show." And he's like, yeah, it's me. Is Tommy really that country? And he does what you said, and he's like, oh no, he's way.
We have a stink bug that keeps
I know.
through you.
But so whenever I started checking into the,
he had a Californians don't think that he had
a
NorCal accent.
Yeah. You know, there was I can go through it. Like everybody there had an accent.
The Canadians have
But mine had the derogatory one because it was Southern. And also in that time, the viewership of that place, majority of the viewership was in the Southeast. And so in my head, I'm like, yeah,
you're people.
You know, it has
people.
I'm like, really?
Yeah.
So one day I was walking through, and one man who I admire and cherish his friendship is Joe St. Lawrence. And that man's just a magical man. But
people don't know the name. After he retired, sold the company, bought it back, sold the company.
Right.
He got in the SEMA Hall of Fame 5-6 years ago. He basically, I'm going to say, started the automotive TV world. There was some stuff like a Motor Trend show where they did, but like Hot Rod TV and stuff, that was Joe St. Lawrence's production company.
Yeah.
That they started on the East Coast. They moved to Nashville because it was on TNN, the Nashville network. Thought you had to be in Nashville. And I was so happy when he got in the SEMA Hall of Fame, because what they built is the blueprint for automotive TV still today.
You know, and that's kind of like, you know, not to get off of it, but they were, and that's one thing I pride myself on, is some of the original influencers in all reality.
Even though they didn't want us to be, they tell me to take my work shirt off for the show when I went to lunch, because you're not supposed to talk to people in public.
Right.
But that's so we wouldn't want more money. But
that wasn't good. There wasn't no stupid shirt, you know, that made me not want more money.
Right. But yeah, they built that platform and things bounced off because of that.
Yep, for sure.
But one day I was walking, and like I said, Joe Saint was this magical person. He was 99% of the time, that man was just bubbly and happy. So one day I was walking past his office, and he's in there plucking on his computer. You know, I remember he was like this kind of guy. And he just says, "Morning, Tom," all happy. I walked past his office, and I turned back around and said, "Joe, can I talk to you for a minute?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, sure." I said, "Joe, I just want you to know, sometimes you piss me off." And he's like, you know, like happy Joe, then we need to talk. And I said, not that it's anything bad, because I then realized what I just said. I said, I walk by here sometimes and I'm having a miserable morning. I have strain and struggle. And I see you you're running this giant company doing what we're doing, and you are the happiest man there ever was, and that pisses me off because I'm thinking that man should have trouble. He should have a bad day. He don't ever have a bad day.
But him in his mind, he's like, I can't believe I get to do.
Right.
He was fans of the guys on TV and the other people, the guests that would come in, and the company. He was a fan of all of that stuff.
Exactly.
But I'm going to say this. He would have bankrupted the company in a year if it wasn't for his wife. She can be difficult to deal with. But she was the smart business person. No, Joe, you can't do that because of this.
Yeah, and you need that.
Yeah, the women keeps us.
You got to have a dream.
Yeah.
Like you have to have the dream. Because
I got called into her office more than one time, but I seen the dynamic of them. But yeah, he was
the yin and
he was happy to be there. It's like, hey, this is my shit. This is my stuff, man. He was excited about it. Yeah.
Exactly. So he told me, he's like, Tom, is there anything you need to talk about? I said, no, I'm just telling you, when I walk by here, I want to be angry, and I talk to you, and you're happy, and you brighten my mood, and it pisses me off because I'm supposed to be mad for a
next day when you walk by, did he just flip you off? Like, that make you feel better, Tommy?
He said, tell you what, come in here and sit down for a minute. And so I said, okay, Joe. And he said, so what's going on? What do you got? What's your plans? Like, why are you saying this? And I said, well, Joe, I said, I'm wanting to pursue a dream here. And with it is like what I want to do. I said, I'd love to be a host, but what they've told me, they said, I won't ever be a host. And he's like, what do you mean you won't ever be a host? And I said, well, I was told by about 3 people in the back that I will never be a host because I got a Southern accent. He gets up, closes the door, cleans over, cleans his desk off, and says, tell me who told you would never be a host here. I said, nope, that ain't how I am, Joe. And he says, I want the names of those people now. And I said, it ain't happening. He said, okay, I'll tell it to you this way.
Write it on a piece of paper.
He said, my name is on the building, not anybody else's. There's not another decision here but mine. And if anything, your Southern accent separates you from everybody here and is actually going to make you be better than a lot of people. That's what that identifies you. So I'm not telling you need to lose it. You may have to dial it back, but don't ever lose it. And I make that decision. So in that instance, in that conversation, when I left, because morally I was like, I don't want to be me. I mean, I don't want to be somebody else. I want to be me. And so when you're thinking of changing something about it, you've always heard people like, just be you. And then the rest of it doesn't matter. But you kind of sometimes mold yourself into something else.
See, I had that a little bit too. One of the sales guys, and they did it for me too. You got to color your hair. Trying to get too gray. I had more hair up here, but now they would make me wear a hat. And the one guy wanted me to get my teeth fixed. Like overlays, whiter, all that. And I'm like, well, that's not me.
Right.
But I ain't got the money to do that. Yeah, and he did. One of the sales guys.
Well, at one point they even said they were going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, no.
No, I wish I should have done.
It's been a bird.
Right?
Exactly. Big chiclets.
But with that, after that conversation, it actually kind of gave me momentum because it then let me go, okay, I don't have to be somebody else. I just got to refine what I've got. And so next thing you know, there was some personnel changes. This is also about the time of the recession and all hit, and they let a few people go. And at that time, I was also one of the lower paid guys. So that helps to keep you in a job when you're handy and you're cheap. So they let a couple of hosts go, and then they said one of the I guess you'd say he was like one of the manager guys said, I can't give you the job, I can't give you the title, but I can put you in that position. And
I mean, you do the job, but we're not going to pay you for that level.
Right. And I said, that's fine. Because the way I'm wired is, again, you put me in that position, I'm going to knock a door off the hinges because I'll show you. You may, because a lot of people don't work that way. I've met numerous people that say, I'm not going to show you I can do the job. You should expect that I can do the job. You should pay me now. that ain't how the world works a lot of times. Sometimes you got to pay your dues.
Yeah, prove yourself. Yeah.
And so that was where I was at, and that's kind of what happened. So next thing you know, I'm the only host there.
Which show were you on as a host first? Were you on engine or trucks, or were you straight on muscle car?
Trying to think.
I don't remember.
When
I
I
worked
started,
there, you were a muscle car,
yeah,
and you were on the muscle car. It changed names until you left. So
yeah, that's what it was. It was for those.
So you were on muscle car as a host, right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, at first. And then I was there with Rick, and so it was, it was great. We got to build some cool stuff, and it's still a lot of work though. As people sometimes like, all you do is just get to work on cars. But at that place, early on at that place, there was 2 hosts and a helper. And then it got into during the recessions,
no helpers.
The helpers kind of went away.
Ian kind of still had, when I was there, Camo Chris was still kind of a helper, but then he was on a
because he didn't have 2 hosts though on that show. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
when that show started, it was him and Jesse. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why he had one and the other ones really did.
Yeah. Okay.
So and all the helper was to speed up production,
to get the TV deadlines are real,
and and things have changed now, and for whatever reason, I don't want to get into all that, but nowadays, what I am also proud of is back then we built some legitimate stuff. And now as time has went on and personnel went down, and even some of the talent that was in the room changes, the workload is the same. So when you change skill and amount of people with the same workload, you drag that workload out. So when we first started, we built 5-6 cars a year. When I left, we were building 1.5 a year. And I'm talking, we were building early. We were building some very ambitious stuff.
Yeah, I remember the red sled, the 61 Impala sedan, right? That thing was at SEMA just a couple years ago. It was outside, like walking towards Optima stuff, and people were still like, "Oh, that's a power block car." Like, they got the cars. When you build cars at that level, they got to be just as known as the host.
Yeah,
they did.
And too, and also in that time, if you were watching a car be built on any kind of a visual platform, that was really your only way to see it. Nowadays, it's far more diluted.
Right.
There's
TV production. They have a harder job of getting their content out there because of that.
Right. There's thousands of people that were producing a video to sit down and watch.
I mean, I thought you guys were. I'd have you guys on in the shop all the time. I thought you were cool, so I was like, Kevin offered me to. I was like, oh, we do that. Then they offered, like, of course, we always love Nashville, but
like, I thought you sit in the shop all the time, but you were in the house in your underwear, so it would be like Saturday morning.
I've seen the shop a lot with it working the shop. But sometimes I would. That's I still do that when people are like, I used to watch you when I was a kid. Makes you feel old. I was like, did you watch me? You're eating breakfast in your underwear, and they're like, yep. So I'm glad we couldn't see you. Yeah, I didn't see out of the TV. But thanks for wearing underwear.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
So, who was, when you were started to be on TV? Who was the other guys in the room? You said Mike Galley was there, Joe Elmore was there,
Kevin Taves, Brian Shan,
Ian. Were you there when Jesse was there? Okay, that's quite the. And Rick, that's quite the crew.
I actually worked with Jared Zimmerman, Lou Santiago first.
Oh, okay.
Jared was there not long. He was there.
Have you seen an update on him? He had a bad accident here just recently. Like fell off a ladder, like
holy cow.
Really, like almost didn't know if he was gonna make it type of thing. Like really bad. Like just
like in November he fell. Yeah, they have a GoFundMe thing, and he's gone through some pretty major surgeries, but
like had to have a kidney transplant or liver transplant or something because of it. But he hurt himself. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It was crazy. But the last update I seen, he was doing good and was. But yeah, it's crazy.
I was always a fan of when you're a TV person, you're overcritical when you've done TV.
Oh, yeah.
Like some stuff is like I can't watch that. It's like the lighting is bad. I mean, because when you're around that stuff,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it was a small company, so it was like you're involved in helping to move the lights and the camera guy.
Yeah.
So I like it's hard for me to enjoy a TV show. It's like musicians can't enjoy a concert. Oh, the bass player's off, the drum missed that beat.
Or,
You know, you look at this stuff, but
or a car guy can't look at another car guy's car.
yeah. I mean, just
Sometimes
enjoy
you're
yourself.
just like it's hard to just disconnect because you're like, I would have done that completely.
Yeah.
But
Tim is not very fun to watch automotive TV with. Actually, he's not very fun to watch most TV with because he's very critical.
I can believe that.
Yeah. He's like, no, wait a minute.
Like if they jump
Just
like
a
an
minute
edit when
ago-
it's out of
Yeah, oh, that
out of
drives me crazy.
sequence.
Just a minute ago, that car was blue.
Yeah.
Now it's red.
But I got screamed at so many times. I'll never forget. I did my show 2 weeks on. We built cars in 4 weeks, 2 weeks break and 2 weeks off. So I would come and go, clean the shop, set up the shop, and I could come back to my shop in between those 2 weeks.
Yeah, keep talking. That was great.
Yeah,
I got to work 2 weeks on yours and go back to mine.
that's there was a lot of
That
that was not people's favorite.
That had
there.
to suck.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, I remember I got a tattoo one time. In day one of the showing the third week of the build, Tom Spy comes out and he's standing there, the producer, and he's just like, I was like, "Can I help you?" He goes, "A tattoo new?" Yeah, I got it 3 days ago. You should run that by me. Don't do it in the middle of the break. For continuity, if I need to put some, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes. So if you watch that one episode, it's like, Tim's got a tattoo. Oh, Tim's in the paint booth. Where'd the tattoo go? It's like it just fit to go. Like, yeah, he used that. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
You have to let him know when you were going to get your hair cut. Yeah, to do,
Yeah, you got in trouble for a haircut one time
Oh
too.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Mike Galley was the worst from the way I understand it because he'd go to like full beard to goatee to no beard and it would be like, and I hope he did it just to screw with him.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
But
his producer, Cataract, like he needed screwed with. He screwed with everybody anyway. Yeah, there was definitely some. I wish they would have done an episode once a year of us turning the camera on the crew guys, the producers and the camera guys, because I mean there were some characters there too.
Oh yeah.
I think they could go back through and do bloopers of everything, and that would be the absolute best.
Yeah.
Because
there's so many bloopers.
Oh, yeah.
That happened not on camera. That's so great. Man. Yeah. I've started telling on my YouTube shows that I'm putting out a story time with TV from TV Land. And telling, man, I've got so many. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Some of them could get people fired today.
I tell some stories on here every once in a while.
And
you have to say allegedly.
Yeah.
Because then that doesn't hold up in court.
I just don't tell who and who's name.
Right, yeah. Just one time. Yeah. I did get Kevin to tell the Mr. Peeper story when he crawled up on the thing and ate the apple like Mr. Christopher Dan.
I was there. I remember that.
I got him to do that the last time I was.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, with JF was over there. I got him to do that. JF didn't film that.
There was a lot of times, and I'm sure you were in the same boat, but he would come home and I would look at him, he's telling me this story, and I'd be just like, "You guys are idiots."
We worked hard, but Tommy was the one when I worked there. We gravitated towards each other. I don't know what it was.
Don't you ever tell nobody.
Yeah, I mean,
when
we went to lunch a lot. We were. And I feel bad because when I left, I distanced myself from everybody because there was a couple, not you, that was causing a lot of trouble, making up a lot of bullshit when I left.
Right.
And so I just distanced myself from everybody there for the longest time. So he was my favorite to work with. You could get, you understood stuff. And I still remember when I started there.
You just hurt KT's feelings.
Hey.
Kevin was worried about his hair. Kevin was good. Rick, I had a good time. Ian, there was a couple guys that I wouldn't piss on now if they're on fire that I worked with there. Right. So they're not there anymore either. But I had a main point there and I just lost that.
You were telling them how awesome I am.
Yeah.
Are you the reason that we're in
the welder? Yeah. Tommy's the reason. I started looking for a shop and he's like, there's things in Lewisburg. I heard about this building and we looked at that building and that building. And then when we bought that one and Tommy's like, shit, I should have came over here. I got a cheap building. Yeah. We're in Tennessee because of KT. We're in Lewisburg because Tommy told us
Yeah.
Hey, you should go look at this town.
You can make it all up to me when you decide to sell. I just need 10% of equity of growth, not of like actual. So it's smaller, but not.
How about I buy you
Yeah.
dinner when we go?
That could work too. Yes. So,
But I remember TV land stuff that they put my show in the warehouse. And yeah, we had this whole 5 new Miller welders. We're starting and we're working. I think it was you or Rick. We were working on the Nova. You guys were the co-host on the first build that I was at. And we're MIG welding. We're letting this go and the welder on. Because we had one welder outlet.
right.
And then everybody was scared in the back of the house to tell the front of the house. I said, told my producer, Tom, I go, dude, we got to have outlets. We got to build this car.
Yeah.
He's like, well, you know where the boss is. So I went up there and everybody's like, people were scared to go up front. I just never was. I was like, we got to have welder outlets. My God, electrician was in there the next day and put us plenty of outlets in.
There was so much of that. And then and it still goes on when I left. And Joe and Patty, who started that company, and even Matt, who's there now managing it, those people would hear me out. They would listen to me. And I maybe it was just mutual respect because I wasn't the guy running up there to be like, can you believe so and so, this kind of stuff. If I come up there with a problem,
there's a reason. There's a real reason.
They will listen to it. And sometimes it's like, we can't do that right now. It's in the budget, but we will make the motions to have this fixed, but it may take 3 months.
I remember
that will make me go.
We didn't have enough air when we're trying to. We got 10 volunteers coming in making all kinds of noise, and we didn't have enough air when everybody was using the air. So I was like, we gotta have. He's like, we don't have a budget for that. Well, that's when they figured out the contract for shown in the back corner of your guys' studio, that big air compressor. They moved that out and piped it up and used that it was just dummied up in the back. And when that contract was done, it doesn't need to be seen. And we all had air.
Yeah.
So all the projects, how long were you there?
19 years.
So what are some of your favorite cars that you put out while you were there?
I really like the 69 Dodge Charger that we built. We did a Hellcat conversion on it early on.
There was Mank was there, right? The green Pro Street car?
That was a 73 Dart.
Oh, okay.
But
you own that, right?
I did. I don't own it anymore.
Do you still, while you're thinking, do you still own the gasser?
Yep.
That was one of my favorite. That you guys did while I was there. They had that. What was the painter guy that worked with like Ed Roth and stuff? He was an amazing artist to come in.
Gary Miser.
Yeah, Miser.
Yeah,
that thing's cool, man.
I'm lucky enough to call him a personal friend, and I also own a car that he striped. And knowing just some of that, it was like having hands on that car, and the car is like it's cool. We just did a video on it, walking around it, and I'm looking at it. I haven't drove that car in 10 years. It's covered. It literally has an inch worth of dust on it. And I'm ashamed for anyone to see it, but it's also like, I'm still proud to say it's mine.
Yeah.
And there's cool memories of Hammer sitting in there and realizing that little guy has got the car bug because it's running with the open headers and you rev it to the moon and he's giggling and I'm confused. I'm like, why are you giggling? And he says, my belly's tingling. and it's like, you got it, bro.
Yeah. What's that got in for a motor? It's a stack injected, right?
Stack injected modular motor.
Okay.
Makes about 550 with a Richmond.
Yeah, I forget what motor was in it.
So
that's one of your favorites that you did, obviously.
Yeah. There's been kind of so many.
I like one that you did after I left. You did like, wasn't it yellow, like a mild custom?
Yeah, we built
4950 shoebox. I thought that was a cool car, but I'm a custom guy.
Yeah.
The red sled was really good that you guys did, the Impala. And then you did I've seen it too recently in the last few years. Now it would be a zinger car because of the way the generations of stuff, third gen Camaros and stuff. You guys did, I don't want to say it was a Laguna, but like a 73 4.5.
Yeah, 73 Buick.
Yeah. I thought that was a cool, because nobody was building stuff like that back then. Yeah. But you're also a big bodied car guy at this time. So before I ask you this next question, of any of your other favorites that you worked on?
Man, there's really, it's like naming your kids in a way. Like, which one's your favorite kid?
You worked on that's a big list of the stuff that you worked on.
I'm so proud of, if you look at that company's top 10 videos, the top 10, 7 of them are mine.
I was told when I was there, one of my episodes, I don't know if you were on that. I don't know if you were on that one. Set an all-time viewership record for the year.
Then I know I was on it.
But it was a green street rod truck. It was one of the episodes.
Yeah,
it's because
51 Ford or whatever.
The last part, the last 10 minutes set a viewing record, is because just so whatever was on Spike after that, people turned their TV on, and the producer says it still counts, but you can't get a raise for this because it was like, oh, Thanksgiving parade or a bowl game or something, and some people turned in. It's like, but when we go to sell ads, it still counts, but not for you. But it was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So it's cool, but not really.
Okay, so wait, we skipped the whole demo.
That's what I was asking the questions about any other favorite cars before I talked about the demos.
Yeah.
Because I hear Tommy likes to do demo cars, and I'm like, this guy's building these cool hot rods on TV. And then he goes, it's stress relief. And we went, and I still remember,
my mom went with.
You went all over to like that. I learned a lot of respect for off-road guys being around Ian. Well, her dad did demo, and it was just like poor demo, buy car out of the junkyard, demo it. Right. We go to see Tommy at a small local event. He pulls in, people are booing him. They didn't like the Tommy Boshers.
We didn't know this when we go. Like, you didn't warn us. And we're sitting.
And when they're cheering for you, your daughter, she was a little nugget at that time. That's what I learned in the South. You can show up at the fair or whatever with stuff to take it to the deep fryer guy. And that's the first time they're deep frying Oreos and Twinkies. That was my first experience there. And I remember how good the sweet corn was there. Yep. We came down, I think Scuba Steve came with us and all the kids.
They were there, and the kids were there because
one of those kids got sick and puked everywhere.
Ate everything fried and then puked all over the place.
But when they called your name, your daughter was sitting in front and she goes, I'm a Boshers! I'm a Boshers! She was like cheering back at the people booing you. Yeah. But Tommy has not just a normal demo car. As I remember, and I tell this story, it had a World Industries block, World Industries heads, right? And it was just, and at this smaller demo, this wasn't a big money one. This was like your local. He would just grab a hold of somebody, push them out. Grab a hold of that guy and push them out. Cause and that's when I learned like all the ice cooling and all that, the tanks and stuff. And it's like, they weren't doing that when we were on demo cars when we lived in Illinois. And it's like, it's a science to do those cars.
Yeah, I've got out since then, and a lot of it is because it was constantly evolving. And it was cool, and I was in it in the beginning because we were blessed enough to be kind of ahead of the curve. We were chasing it just like a drag race guy or off-road guy or whatever. You're always looking for that performance edge.
Yeah, I had a buddy in Illinois that got big when we moved away, Eric, and he's like, "Oh, it didn't perform. We're gonna rebuild the motor before next." Like he would do it and like put a bigger cam in it and put different heads on it. Like he was one of them guys at big money events too. So
to your point, when we first got started, like my first car, I paid $50 for it. It had a 350 that come out of something. I had probably somewhere around $300 in it. Whenever it was all said and done, with everything that was bolted and screwed to that car, it was somewhere around $25K. And part of that is
Did you mean to have your wife?
No, it's fine. Because it's like,
some of them paid like 20 grand.
Some of the big ones, they would pay, there was purses we've been to, it was $50,000 purse. Yeah. And, I was blessed. I had some guys that we are no longer friends, but part of that is competitive and life changes and all that other, but, you just keep pushing. Like, I remember.
No matter what, if it's go-kart racing.
It don't matter. Like,
kart race,
like just the way some people clock in every day and clock out, and some people work really hard. And for us, it was just always like I wanted to be more and more and more competitive. But then it also kind of got into where it wasn't any more fun because we were working so hard. I watched a friend of mine who was a derby guy, but he was just that kind. He's also the kind of dude. It doesn't matter where he's going to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But he spent a couple $100, spent probably like a hard 4 hours on the car, and had the bestest time.
Yeah.
I spent hundreds of dollars, and I spent hundreds of hours, and was mad when I was done.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, we're doing this for fun, and you're angry.
Yeah.
Right.
And but I'm also very thankful for derbying, because it taught you lessons with building skills. It taught you
Cooling systems.
Yeah. There was one day, me and a good friend of mine was putting a roll cage in the car, and we're at the shop. It's kind of late, and I'm welding, and I'm like a jungle gym, and he's holding it in there, and we tack it, and I'm in the middle of burning the wire, and I go to laughing, and it's just that kind of laugh that you're like, what the heck are you doing? And I'm like, you wouldn't, hold on a minute, like, let me finish as well. So I get done and sit up, and I said, what just happened? 6 hours ago, I was working on a car and had a flat file, and I was filing the metal so that I could TIG it with a piece of 23 thousandths wire. Just now, I said, yeah, I can bridge it. And it was a 1/4 inch gap.
With the electric caulking gun.
And I was just welding it, like I was sending it. And he's like, yep, that sounds like you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go cut some more metal. But it was like, because in that moment, I said, there is thousandths and then 250 thousandths. You know what I mean?
And then I can stick my pinky in there. I can't quite stick my thumb. I think I can.
Turn the heat up.
It's like that one guy on one of the builds. He was a northern guy, so he's used to fixing rust and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Remember when he taught us all what TIG MIG was? He was MIGing and then shoving TIG wire in it too to fill a gap on something.
But with that derby, and it gave you critical thinking of like, if you put something here, will it live? Will the hood hit it? Will the hose cut? Will any of that stuff? And that works with building a hot rod. When you put that radiator thing in there, when you close the hood, will it hit?
Yep.
And it was also practice. And we were pushing stuff to the limits. Like that is like an automotive boxing ring. You put stuff in, like I remember early on I welded a motor in, and then the motor fell out. And I'm going, why did the motor fall out? It's not that there was 1,000 pounds of weight sitting in here and you welded 2 inches on each side and it should be fine. No, it was actually that the welder wasn't hot enough. The material was too light. I didn't clean it properly because the weld just literally broke off. So that whole process, full circle, makes you a better builder in whatever you do. Yeah. But it takes that practice. Like I derbied for probably 10, 15 years. We build anywhere from 3 to 7 cars a year.
And then you would buy all the good stuff, and you were the go-to guy for those.
Yeah, it's like you were asking
wagons
earlier,
and all that stuff.
Saying like, are you hurting? Is currently we've probably got 60 or 70 cars still
do,
and I bought one, sold one, bought two, sold them, bought 4, and I let that fund my hobby because I didn't want to take money away from my family. And that's part of it. But what that has now done, every car that's sitting there is paid for.
Yeah. I remember one of our trips to go, so we go do the surprises and pick people up. We went to Colorado to pick up the military Mustang guy. Yeah, my phone's buzzing. And then we found a local junkyard. And I wanted to, I don't know if I bought anything. It was a good junkyard. Remember that junkyard? I want to go back to that. Well, we had a truck and trailer there. I know I bought something. I bought a fender or something. You bought a bumper or two off those big Chevys. And I'm like, that's when I realized Tommy wasn't normal. Like, you're not buying like a Camaro. You're buying this off of like a 78 Caprice.
First rule of business is get that money.
And you're like,
and that's what I was chasing.
You're like, dude, that's a $200 and some bumper. And I'm like, really? And then he goes, yeah. And they're going to smash it up. Yeah.
And I paid $50 for it, sell it for $250. This sounds like this is worth
taking
off and putting in the car.
Yeah. So, remember, you brought at least one bumper, maybe more than a couple bumpers or something. And we weren't really allowed to do that, but we snuck it in the trailer.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, I know a guy that was in a trip to Memphis to pick up a set of axles, and while he was there, the business was closed, so he was riding around and couldn't just like it was just bored. And where he found a car, and he wound up buying a car, and he's like, "Well, I can come back and get it," and then he said, "Well, I'll be back." And long story short, he bought a set of Rhino ramps because when he went to the axle store, they put the axles all the way up front, and then he put the Rhino ramps down and drove the car on top of it, and it lifted the front end up over the axles, and he hauled the car and axles back, and then unloaded it that night when he got home, and nobody ever knew the difference. So
that's awesome.
And that guy,
I wonder who that guy is.
That guy took that car, and I think he paid $250 for it and sold it for $1,800. So, if I could figure out how that guy's doing it, I need to start doing it.
Yeah,
right?
that'd be a good idea.
Pretty good
That guy
money.
sounds brilliant to me.
Yeah.
You kind of already got to deal with though.
That's what you just got to know what you're into and where the market is, where you can move it. So you still, even though you don't build demo cars, people come to you to buy demo cars from you still?
Yeah, we play around with that, and I buy them old big bodies and part them out because that was one of them too.
If they're not smashing them, they might be building donks or something.
Yeah, because those cars don't have a whole lot of aftermarket support, and
you were the first guy that publicly admitted to me that you like donk cars. I remember going into your studio one time and you had a donk magazine.
You dang right I did.
And like, but you smashed them up. And he goes, not all those parts get smashed that I sold, but
it's knowing and the worst part about it is I think back to some of the sheet metal that I could sell today if I had it that I tore up.
Yeah.
And
it's back when her family, they got so like the old Lincoln.
Suicide door Lincoln?
No, they weren't them, but they were a big Lincoln, and like they were unbeatable at the local county fairs. They actually outlawed them because they were so good. And it's like those cars now they weren't slab sizes, but they were a big Lincoln.
Sure, wasn't that Imperial?
No, it was Imperial. Yeah, the big Imperials. Those cars are worth a lot of money now. Like all the ones that got smashed.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
Bought a new battery that had fire right up.
How you doing?
Sorry.
We boring you?
No, my phone is going all crazy. Like something happened on Facebook.
Well, we had some bad news today. We had an old BMX buddy that they found that he ended it all this morning. So we've had kind of a rough day. Friend that had been friends with for a while. We kind of lose touch when you move away from somebody, and but still had mutual friends, and that So our phones have been going off all day. So the demo thing ended. You built shop at the house. I helped put the epoxy floor down and learned how to do that. I remember we did this Loctite floor stuff that I guess they don't make that anymore. That's really good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember you started mixing up like more than one bucket at a time. And I remember like bucket 3 that you mixed up, you just dumped it on the thing and it was like a Jello mold.
Yeah, it's still
like,
there.
Let's not mix them all up at the same time. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember the guy who helped us with it, and when I was talking with him, he was saying, you pour it out in ribbons. And I was like, I don't know what the heck he's talking about, ribbons. But it was great, like all the guys that we had there, because it was kind of ambitious, we were going to do this, we got to get it done. And
it starts kicking off pretty quick, too.
It's like body filler. And that's what we realized, that it feeds off of itself just like filler. You can spread it thin and it'll stay pliable a lot longer than if it's in a big giant.
It gets hot,
and that was an instance like we had it and we mixed up one or poured about half the bucket out, and one of the guys reached over to grab the bucket, and if it was 3/4 full or halfway full, the top half of the bucket just peeled off of itself, and it was stringy where it had melted right around it. And I just remember going like, I don't think we should be doing this. Like, this is a bad science experiment. Don't get any on you.
Mine didn't stick everywhere because my floor was from the 20s and
wasn't super.
I should have got a grinder and ground it down. I acid etched it, but it's still been pretty good. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Oh yeah,
really good stuff. So you decide to leave the studio because at first when you started there, it was how long to drive?
It was about 55 minutes one way.
And now Nashville's growing out south so much that how long was your drive got to?
We were about an hour and 15 on a good day. And there were days that they would be a 2-hour day, one way.
Yeah.
And that starts to weigh on you. Like, there's also the commute started to suck. Development was happening. And when you see the development, and you've been driving up and down this road for 19 years, almost every inch of it. And you see it happening and you go, it's not going to get any better. It's technically
the route that I took, I lived closer, not a lot closer, but in 2 years that I drove there was whole housing. Like, it was kind of cool. It was like, oh, they're putting in the sewer. Oh, they're putting in the electric. And then now there's pizza places and dentist office and hotels there. And it's like, in 2 years, I mean, it's crazy on the growth that this place has had. Blows my mind away.
Yeah. There was one exit that was put up that instantaneously added 10 minutes. And
June Lake.
Yeah. And when that happened,
I don't understand. I went up there yesterday, backed up at June Lake at 6 o'clock in the morning. The exit scares everybody and they have to slow down for no reason.
I have a theory of it. And
What's your theory?
People drive via GPS. And if you turn your GPS on before you get there, it tells you to slow down. So as you're cruising along, like a lot of people of certain ages, they're just cruising along. Slow down, exit ahead. They're used to being told what to do.
Kevin's wife says that. Damn June Lake.
If you turn it, I've told people this before. Turn your phone on. Your phone will tell you that. And when it does, it's right after the car in front of you hits the brakes. It just you will be cruising along, brake lights come on, slow down.
A lot of time on the road to study traffic patterns.
Dude, it's like driving that as much as I did with a wife that you want to get home to and 2 kids that you love, and you're just ready to be home. You start developing strategic moves. You learn traffic patterns that go, okay, great. And it says, get in the left lane when you're headed south. You got to go past this exit. There's people lined up for days, but if you get in the far right where you have to merge, you can go 3/4 of a mile and you just pass 900 cars. All of us are going south, and your GPS is telling you to go that way, and mine is too, but I ain't listening. And so when you see that, and then you just go, because the same point at June Lake, why there is no wreck up here. Random parts of
Never. I know.
cussed about it. I went up.
But it doesn't matter. Like, there for the longest time, it didn't matter what time of day.
It could have been
what
midnight.
Day you went. It doesn't all
Not
the
as bad at
time.
night. It's in the morning. Yeah, I left here at 6 o'clock yesterday. I had to go to the crumb shop, and
next time you go, turn your GPS and see if I'm right.
Back. It wasn't backed up. Where 840 merges on. It wasn't even backed up yet. Then it was going to, but yeah, June Lake backed up. Added 12 minutes to my drive.
It's no different than my way here today. The GPS told me to go a mile or so over here to a cul-de-sac that don't even get you here.
It's did that,
and it's the
recently.
GPS added 7 minutes to my commute.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, so, I don't know what they did. Our delivery drivers they end up over there. So
probably where your glass is over there.
Probably waiting on some window glass. So yeah. So you decide to leave the studio after all those years. You had stuff going on in the shop already. You were getting busy, and you're thinking, okay, I'm wasting almost 4 hours every day that I could be home.
Yeah. What happened with it was we had started building a plan B. Early on, I was always told it's TV, Tom. You need to have a plan B.
Yeah.
Because they can come in and all of a sudden say, guys, it's been fun, but it's time to go home. I got a wonderful wife and 2 kids and a mortgage and insurance and life and I got to be able to pay for that. So
you have 2 good kids, you said, but people don't know you have 7 kids, but you only like 2 of them.
I do. Yeah,
we really only has 2 in this method.
So anyhow, but the other 5 are hers.
Oh,
yeah.
See,
one of them might be mine. I don't know. Could be.
Wow, that's weird.
You just realized what happened. So, all right. So the plan B.
Plan B. What happened? We started building Plan B.
It failed. Right.
Exactly. That's how we got in this whole situation. Go back to those meetings. No. we started building some cars on the side, if you will, and we would have people ask us, from you go out to the shows, do you do any side work? And I tell everybody no for forever. And then I said, because I built a shop, and I said, I want to build a nice shop because everybody, car dude, wants a cool shop. And so we did that, and then after realizing, like, you need to quit telling people no and start capitalizing on some of this. And you don't have to do all the work, just do a little work. So so we did basically, and I got a friend of mine who started working for me, and he would work during the week and some weekends, and then I would work some afternoons and weekends on my projects and these projects. And as we're doing that, you kind of start going like questioning why with work you go like, should I really kind of just keep building cars up there? I mean, there is the stability of insurance and a corporate job and all that kind of stuff.
Any tool you could possibly want.
Yeah. But it also stepped back, and sometimes it's like the age of the person that your wants change. And for me, working up there at that place, and my wonderful wife will agree with this, there was times that I would be gone from the house minimum of 12 hours a day, and sometimes it was 16, 18 hours a day. And it's not any fault of theirs, it's really a fault of mine. And there toward the last part of it is I just really, and part of it was plan B too. Like it started going, they get 8 hours of my day. I'm not working any harder than that. I'm just going to come home and work on mine. But that commute started getting longer. So when you're riding in a car for 4 hours a day and you start thinking about basically just some math of going, well, I worked at home and I charged fair market rate of a shop. If I just worked those 4 hours I'm driving times 5 days a week, I could live off of that. And then also that for me was my parents started getting into some bad health. So your parents needing some help. And then you start realizing like why you start questioning. So why are you going up there? I was also a guy of going like, it was kind of notoriety of going, I don't know if I worked there 19 years to the 20th, how much notoriety will I get? And really it turned into, I'm just building cars up here. And I enjoyed it, and I really like the TV side of it, like that. That's a creative thing.
And you started thinking, am I just getting comfortable like the guy that worked 46 hours at the factory?
Kind of like, and but it really, man, a lot of mine was family. Like it really was. I wanted to be home more. I wanted to at least not be as far away. Having the opportunity for yesterday, my pretty little wife brought me supper. I worked at 10 o'clock. I started at 8 o'clock. Or I started at 8 that morning. I worked at 10 o'clock that night. She stopped in at 6 o'clock or so. We sat and had a conversation for about 30 minutes, and that was some of the best enjoyment ever.
What'd she bring you to the shop?
Because she brought me some fancy chicken, some mashed potatoes and peas, and cabbage, and no spoon. So it was great.
That's awesome.
Screwdriver or a paint stick?
Yeah, I actually went and tried the one, but
I've been there. I have plasticware in my cupboard.
Me too.
Yeah.
I bought him a whole thing of it from Costco because I used to do that all the time, and I would forget.
What she said. She's like, I think I bought you some.
Yep, that's right.
So, and you knew it was there the whole time. I don't know. Look at her smiling. But
now all 12 of our listeners know that she forgot the silverware.
Right.
Yep.
You doing right. You guys are welcome to mail us that kind of silverware. Me and Tim both need it.
I do that because Derek, the Vice Grip Garage guy, this building that I pass 6 times a day, I was like, hey, you got something there? And he goes, it'll be okay. He goes, because that's the address that they find if they Google him. And since he's done those drive these, oh, I don't have this bolt. He goes, I get boxes of their junk drawers.
Mm.
That's my majority of people's like, they send me all this leftover nuts and bolts. I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, we all have that. We
Yeah.
all have that big drawer
Yeah.
that I call hell.
Mhm.
So
So,
when you're there, when I was there, they were controlling. They didn't even want me having a Facebook or an Instagram. I didn't start an Instagram. Of course, it's been 13 years. I've been there 12 years.
In that day.
And I started an Instagram right after that because I didn't have one when I started, so they wouldn't let me start one.
Mhm.
So you weren't doing any YouTube stuff and social media stuff, really. Were you doing any videos from the shop yet?
no, we had Facebook that we were playing around with, and I remember the days of the management coming back going, man, you guys really, they were pushing us early on. You need a Facebook, you need and Instagram. They never TikTok is too new. Like that was they were like, this is something that's up and coming, and you guys should do that. And I don't want to say they wouldn't let you do that, but they didn't want you to. And what they really did not allow was to advertise their stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's fair, like in all reality, but it was kind of frowned upon to do anything like that, to see it growing and vibrant. And some of it is because I don't want to say controlling, but it is control, meaning they didn't, no employer ever wants you to use them for a stepping stone.
Right.
And
Yep.
they want you to be invested.
My handbook actually said this is not a job to improve your life.
It did.
It said that. And I highlighted it.
Yeah.
And showed it to him.
There was a lot of highlights in that book when you went back.
But it's, for me, we were playing around with Facebook, but we weren't really, I guess you could say I was on Facebook. But after we stepped away from Power Nation, the next thing you know, I started playing around with some of this stuff. And one of the things that I didn't realize that I was missing, and that's kind of the bench racing. Because working for that place, you're two hosts, a videographer, and a director producer in one giant building or one giant room. And that's really the only people you hang out with. You don't go to a whole lot of shows. You may, in the whole scream of the year, you may go to 4 or 5. And through those events, you really don't even when you build the cars that are amazing, you don't even get to join them because you get to go out and shoot them, and then they're like, okay, drive by again, turn around, come back here.
On the next
So the next thing you're doing the whole day, and you're expected, if the car breaks, you're supposed to fix it. So you're just trying to hope not that the darn thing doesn't have something happen to it. But, and then you're also the guy that's loading it up. You're the guy who loaded it the day before. And I don't want to complain about it, but it's just like, that ain't the fun of it. Like, the fun is like the joyride of like stretching this thing out. And
I remember we were test driving the 55 wagon, and you're like, just keep going. Driving to Memphis today.
what happened? We had to put some miles on.
Yeah. Wasn't running right. We had to get it running right.
So, seeing whenever you start that social media side like we did, my first thing, I guess you would say, that we really kicked off was putting that Hellcat engine in that Winnebago. And seeing and reading the comments and that bench racing, that interaction that I didn't have before, now I have it.
I still have trouble like reading some of our comments on our YouTube, like Apple, Spotify. You can't really leave comments, but YouTube. Oh,
yeah.
No, and like some people are they just hate the world.
Yeah.
So some people are just trolls. They just want to mess with people.
You have to say, let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
A lot.
Right. And I encourage everybody on ours to tell me what I'm doing right and tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I'm interested in improving. And sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. But if you have a valid point, but sometimes, to your point, there's people that's just angry and that ain't nothing ever good enough. And that's fine. There's a lot of times that when I read some of those, I will leave a comment to them and I'll say, I'm praying for you. And it's an honest statement.
Yeah.
Because happiness is a choice. You wake up every morning and you decide to be angry or you decide to be happy. You
She
can,
likes that at shows. The registration.
Mhm.
It's like it's a car show. Nobody's forcing you to be here.
Yeah, like we are
Yeah.
not performing surgery. Like this
Yeah, we're not
literally
saving babies.
is a
Yeah.
car show.
Yeah.
Like we're here to have fun.
you can carry baggage around and you're the one who chooses to pick it up every
Mhm.
day. And some people you can, like, it's really hard to set it down, but sometimes you just have to move past it. And you know, there was times that we all had jobs that you bring it home, and there was a lot of times that I went through motions that when I actually walked into my house or walked to my house, we have a step going into it. My wife will listen to this. I don't know if I've ever told her or not, but I would actually kneel down and put my fist on the pavement or on the concrete. And in my head, that was me setting down the baggage of the, and I'm not,
Because a 2-hour drive wasn't enough to
right.
be compressed.
And it's like, I'm
sometimes.
not carrying it into my house because my wonderful wife and my 2 kids don't deserve daddy to be angry. And when I went in there, I wanted them to have me and not carry this other stuff. And sometimes it's heavy and you just can't. But going through that action,
Listening.
it's a mindset. Like,
Are you listening?
so
Say this one more time.
The problem is Carrie works from home when she's running the event.
Right.
She doesn't.
See to shut my door and just walk away.
Yeah.
And when I shut my door, I'm done and I'm just gonna walk away for the day. I have this one critic, and it just like I always get this, you didn't this, or you didn't do it this way, or you didn't. I'm like, can we start with a positive? Or
Mhm.
turn that
but you
positive
have
into
to
a
look at it
negative?
this way. See, and this is a positive. It's no different than back in the day. This is dumb. I'm never watching you again.
Uh-huh.
The next week, you guys are still screwing up. You're like, yes, sir. You're still watching. So, you know, that's a faithful viewer.
That's what I always
Sometimes
say.
you just gotta accept it's. I'm glad I can be your person to hate.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, if people are talking about you good or bad,
I'm still talking.
they're still talking. Like, yeah. I mean, like, at least they're on a good subject.
Right.
Yeah.
So your YouTube kind of started taking off
Mhm.
because you have a different project. I remember you were like looking for a motor, and I was like, "Oh, I might know a guy," and he's like, "Well, I got a budget," and I'm like, "What are you putting that? Okay." And then like, "Well, keep this a secret," and I'm like, "Oh, that sounds awesome."
And it has. It's been a lot of fun. It's got quite a bit of recognition, I guess you say. And it's, man, in all reality, people ask all the time, like, so how did this thought process even happen? And it's like, I can't really tell you. I can tell you where I was at when I was explaining it to Kimberly, but and that
what was
moment,
her? What was the look on her
it's the
face?
same thing as always. You know, they're like, let me demonstrate. Yeah, that's sweet.
And then when you buy the Winnebago, it's like, "What did you do?"
No,
Said okay the other
Yeah,
day.
no.
You know.
that was one of them. Like, when sure, if that sounds good. So a couple weeks later, and I tell her, I'm like, hey, I found a Winnebago. And because in my head, I was like, the Winnebago is the hard thing to find. The engine's not. So I tell her, hey, I've got this Winnebago. We need to go look at it. And she's like, I don't know about this. And had some reservations. Now, and granted, they were all plausible. But,
And I hate you for this, by the way, because Carrie wants an RV to go camping, and she's always finding these old piece of craps. I was like, I'm not putting a whole motor in it. Well, Tommy did. I hear that.
And
Tommy
Tommy
did. Tommy
did.
did.
We're rock and roll. But what was great is when we were going over there, not that I was trying to sell her on it, but she again was like, yeah, sure. I just don't know. And when we pull up, quote, that damn thing's going home with us. And it was like, well, I don't know yet. Hold on. We got to make sure it's good enough. And so we work out a deal with it, and we get it home. And I pull up to the shop once, and I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea or not. Well, we're gonna give it a go either way. And the conversion was astronomically easy. If I was to build this thing again, I could build one of them in 30 days. If I had the part sitting there, because it was way.
But you're a TV guy. You built cars in a half an hour.
Right? Yeah.
Full cars in a half
cars
an
in
hour.
30 minutes.
Elevated skill set. So, but the worst part about the entire build was painting it.
Oh, I can imagine.
My wife and Hammer both helped us sand it. And that only took, and when I say sand it, we used Ajax and Scotch-Brite, and it was 16 hours of straight scuffing.
Oh,
And yeah, right. And but we wound up painting the white first and the front and back white, and then the next day as I was painting it green, and we used sour apple single stage from Summit, and I ordered 5 gallons because if you think about this thing, you don't know how it's going to cover, and when you order, you can't just like call up the paint store like I need some more, and I'll be there in an hour. So we ordered 5 gallons, and when you put 5 gallons of not mixed, then you mix it, and then you're painting for 13 hours. Start.
Did you use a normal gun, or did you have a pot gun feeding it?
No, I had a.
That you had to keep.
Yeah, regular gun. I had it mixed up as a gallon mix jug, so you're like mixing a half a gallon at a time, and I literally sprayed for like 11 hours. And it was 97 degrees the day when I was painting. And in my head, I was like, yeah, see, we get started early this morning. By the time about lunchtime hits, I'll be finished. There was points, and I was wearing a bodysuit, that I could feel the puddle of sweat touch here and then puddle at my elbow and puddle down, and it was running back and forth. And
You're like a human waterbed.
dude, I normally am, but when I got done the next day, I couldn't walk.
Oh, if I couldn't raise your arms either,
Dude,
could you?
I could like I had to go to the chiropractor, and it was just I couldn't walk. And I had 3 platforms set up, and it was the ones you get from Home Depot that are about 14 inches tall, and it was just enough to paint the top. So you're stretching and you're walking, and I needed 4. So there's about a 2-foot section in between one, and you're going, and the way it painted it is I painted it like a candy. Start to top to bottom, front to back, each stroke. And you're walking across
How many times did you step off the thing?
Not once, luckily.
See, I did that. I was painting a roof with a panel truck, and I had these race ramp blocks. Well, when I was sanding, it wasn't so bad when I painted because I learned my lesson by then. And I kept forgetting that I was on a block. I didn't have what you did with a walking, like a runway for a model. And I fell off of like a couple times, stepped off it, jammed my back, had to go to the chiropractor, all that.
Yeah.
But
It's great getting old.
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't young or old, I would say.
Did you have enough paint? Was it 5 gallons enough? Probably not much left though, was there?
No, I think we had like 3/4 of a gallon left. And like just running that amount of material through a gun, and we put 5 coats of green on it, and it's got 2-inch ribs in it. The way that corrugated metal is, every 2-inch, that's 1 pass with overlap to make it lay out right. So if there's 57 of them dudes, there's 57 strokes running the length of that dude that's 20 feet long.
Oh my.
Know how you are when you get ready to paint a vehicle.
I still get nervous.
He is nervous and he turns into an a-hole.
I'm never that kind of guy.
Oh, Tim does, because he gets so stressed out because paint is so expensive.
You're throwing chemicals through the air.
You don't want to mess it up because
I get stressed on paint day and first startup day.
Yeah. Oh, he's
when I started the Chevelle, I had Pat Topolinski here, and no, Frankie wasn't with him. Gerald was here too. And he's like, dude, it'll be okay. I'm like about ready to pass out, about ready to throw up. He goes, it'll run, or it won't. It's one or the other. I go, but if it, and he had to help me. I had a motor guy that kind of screwed some stuff up, and he had to pull the heads off and do some things and everything. So I was a little nervous anyway, and trying to make it for SEMA and
it is a lot of stress for sure. You know, on some of that, like I find myself, I get more stressed during the process than I do in the beginning of the process. And I'm not telling you to do this, but I'm all about an extra, that performance edge. I'll say a prayer before I even get started because it's one of them like, All I need is the skill set and the calmness and the ability to turn out what I need to do. And if you can help me, that's what I need.
Sometimes I say I should have stayed in school. Should have stayed in school.
Yeah. But man, it's like it is like that's a couple $1,000 you pour out. Like that can be definitely be stressful.
Yeah.
Yep.
We just painted one, and oh man, it's gold. It was a gold Plymouth that we got, and gold is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And we were painting it, and I was painting it, and I was painting it, and I got a few coats on, and none of them were laying out. And I had exhausted all of my like techniques, and I was ready to call Kevin. I was gonna call him because he's a master painter, and because I'm like, I've done everything I know to do, and in my head it's like there's old paint techniques, and then there's new paint techniques, and I was painting new car paint techniques in a way, and so I said, wait a minute, this is technically old paint. It's because it was the old factory color, and they can't mix the old colors in the modern materials because of the pigments and all are different, or metallics and pearls. So they had to do it in the cheaper line. So I said, okay, cool. We're going to just do the famous drop coat. And I remember spraying this drop coat on here, and I said, if this don't work, it's screwed. Because it looked like you had just sprinkled sand on it. And I'm just going, I'm like, good Lord, you're going to let it lay out? No, you are. Because I can't. And I get around to the car, and I come back to the hood, and that was the slickest paint job I've ever put in. And it had went from screwed up to don't ever tell nobody you painted this to like, that's almost perfect. If I do this again and it goes 80% that much, it's going to be 160 good. So I waited a few minutes and went back there and did it the exact same way. And when I walked back and looked at it, I was like, told you you'd make it work. And we let it dry.
I think you have a different relationship than you do. Tim has the we just watched the last episode, the most current episode of Landman last night. Tim has the relationship when he asks for something, you know, shit.
He said that so about just give it to me. Oh, and there was this crazy car wreck. Yeah.
But you know, and we think it's good, and I think it's good. And then we had Kevin come over, and he did a little video in it, and he stopped and said, dude, who painted that car? And when that man paid me a compliment, I said, I think I've done all right.
But you're I've worked with you. You're a good painter.
Right.
Not everybody that was painter was a good painter, but you were a good painter.
Yeah. So, but it's man, I remember too on this car, like to your point, I was getting nervous sometime. I opened that can of paint up. This is the people who own the car. This was their decision. And I go, man, no way in hell I paint this car this color. This is
I like gold. I like
but not in the can. Like I'm not me.
And then there's some color. Like I know a guy that's another good painter, and he did a Chevelle restoration. It's like 10, 15 years ago. And there's like that 66, 7 Chevelle blue. That was something that.
Oh yeah.
That thing, it's hard to get that one. Like he repainted stuff like 3 times on that, and he's a good painter. Just because it wanted to model on him really bad, just because some of them colors are just like our friend Randy Borcherding custom mixes custom paints, and he did this car. Ended up winning the Sloniker. He goes, man, and he'd always sprayed on a hood to test it. He goes, I created a color that I can't paint. And I say Randy's one of the top 10 guys in the industry.
Right.
So he had to tweak the formula a little bit with different stuff so it would lay out. And the car, multi-million-dollar car, end up winning the Sloniker Award. So he got it figured out. But when Randy's like, I created a color I can't. Yeah, he was. That was like,
you just man. You're like, no.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what's coming up for the future? Where were you? What's in your mind?
Well, we got to back up. Last year, Tommy was part of, along with you, the Vandemonium race at the Mo Party, and you brought the Winnebago. You had merch there. Your business managers.
Well, I remember emailing you or messaging you and saying, "Hey, we have this project we're working on. Do you want to be part of it? And I think you said yes before I got it out of my mouth of what we were actually doing.
And then when it came down to it, so I've been around Tommy a lot. I think I've seen him smile and laugh more that weekend than I've seen him.
All I can tell you is I came in last, but I had the most fun.
You weren't last.
You weren't last because one car did not make it.
Weren't you still running at the end?
Yeah.
Gary
Yeah.
wasn't. She was
Yeah,
sitting in the
I wasn't.
infield.
I
Well,
wasn't, and
Hers
neither was
overheated.
Thomas.
Started again. Yeah.
Yeah, Thomas was the loser. He was
Okay,
the massive
then I was
loser.
the last one competing.
Okay, there you
Yeah.
go.
So you finished 17th, 18th. There was 20. No, there was
No,
10.
there
There was 10.
Really
You were in the top 10 though.
Right?
There was 10 in the store. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Tommy made this van. Like some of these, Carrie never drove her van. She got a free van. People donated. Some people bought their vans, and you went and got a van, and you made it a
Epic.
super van.
I did, like, cause see, this is like there was an issue. Like, there's multiple issues. Not that I'm complaining, but it's like you ask, so what are we going to do? Can't tell you. And then you're like, okay, fine. All you got to do is buy a crappy van. Go, we're going to race it. So it's like, oh,
Which then you got to have a cage in it. You got to get it. Yeah.
well, that wasn't a problem.
We didn't really, just for our defense, we really didn't know what we were going to do till like the week of the event. Like, and probably the day before the event is when we decided the format. We wanted to keep it loose and
Okay. I
flexible for
get it.
y'all.
Well, okay, I can understand that. Well, another situation was whenever we were talking, and it's like, yeah, I just need to put a cage in it. Well, when the cage shows up, I'm like, what the heck are we going to be doing? Because this cage is legit. This isn't,
Yeah, right.
like, this isn't just some, like, I put derby car cages in, and I'm going like, yeah, sure, we can come up with some square tube, and we'll do this. We'll put this stuff on there.
Okay.
Then it's got.
It was supposed to be more,
It
wasn't it?
supposed to be more. So here's the funny thing. We had some internal conversations. We had we run a racing organization, you know, for like, that's what our company does. So we can't be known for like an unsafe race.
I totally get
And
it.
we had one of our staff members that threw his hands in the air and was like, I am not any part of this. I'm not doing it.
That cage wasn't enough.
Because but it ended up, and he actually, the thing I was telling you about earlier, which is going to be epic for next year, he was the first one that was like all on board for it this year. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. He's okay with this? How is this? Like, because he was not okay with the cages. And most of us,
I mean, Josh designed the cages, bent the cages, then so you didn't have to bend it. So the cages were all the same.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I was in the middle of it because honestly, I drove one of the free vans home from Detroit, and I'm just like, race them like this. Like, why do we got to do anything to it?
Yeah.
But,
so it was like when I got done looking at mine and putting the cage in it, that was one of them going like, man, they don't know what the hell we're doing. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I don't know if I want
But I got a cage like I'm going to run 200 mile an hour in this thing.
I think I'm going to die.
We're going to be like, and I ain't scared to slam into another car. Heck, we've done that a bunch, but I'm also going like, this. And I'm also like self-employed now, so it's a little different. It's like
we were more concerned of the rollover.
Right,
That's what we were more concerned about.
Which everybody stayed
the rollover.
down.
Yeah, everybody did good with that. So it wasn't so much of the contact or the speed. It was more of the fact of what are we going to do if these cars or these vans roll.
Yeah. So with mine, we were after we put the cage in it, and then you guys didn't really tell us what the heck we were doing, and then I had an insider. Kimberly went to go pick up the cage, and she's like, yeah, them dudes are doing.
They put a turbo on there.
They got this big honking thing on here, and it's like, and then there was some social media posts, and it's like, and I'm going, I'm not doing this. Like I want to make a splash and I want to make a presence, but I don't have time. I don't have the money, and I'm not that invested. So we're sitting around and we're just doing like staying hydrated and you're bench racing. And then next thing you know, I'm talking with my buddies about Superbirds and Daytonas, and this is a Mo Party show. So you're like, you know what you could do? We need to build a Superbird van. And so that's how all that stuff come about. Like, I was trying to figure out, I wanted to use all Dodge parts at first. So the front bumper nose, I was like, we got to Superbird's got a nose on it. Van is almost got a nose, but it's not. So I was looking at like Concords and stealth and all this stuff out of that era. Man, that stuff is hard to find. Like I'm an hour and a half from Nashville, and there's probably something like a picking pool or something up there, but it's like I don't want to drive up there. And then you're like, or if it's a bird, a Firebird would work, and in the right year's got an actual point on it. So I found one of those, and I couldn't find one for the longest that was wasn't 2 hours away. So I pushed another prayer up north, and I was like, if this is supposed to happen, I'm trying to be something. I'm trying to do it. And I'm gonna let you take over because
Do you think this guy you're talking to, he helps you along because you're his entertainment, like your dad was when you were a little kid? I think so. It's like, well, this one keeps me laughing.
Yeah. Bless his heart. He's that all the time. So next thing you know, one pops up. It's 25 miles away. It shows on the GPS or through Facebook or whatever. So I messaged the dude. He's like, "Yep, I'll sell it." It was cheaper. Then when I go to pick it up, I put his address actually in my phone, and it was 4.5 miles from the shop.
Meant to be.
And that's what I said going up, because I was like, oh crap, I'm late. I gotta go now. I need to text the dude. And so I got the address, put it in there, and then it's like, I'm gonna be on time, and it's this close. So I didn't. With a Superbird nose, it's got to have a wing too. But I said, I got to make sure this nose is going to work. So I get it back to the shop, and you start, some people aren't that way. Some people just like make it work. And I was studying it, making sure. And then I go, Tom, just loosen up. Just do it. So I went and I picked up the jigsaw. And you're not really supposed to use jigsaw. And then I just couldn't do it. I was like, I can't use the jigsaw. At least use body saw, Tom. And I know that may sound, but that was a moral dilemma that I was going with. So I get it up there and I kind of mock it up.
Not really building a demo car, but it might end up being a demo car the way these idiots are out
there. So we start fitting it, and I spent a lot of time, probably 7 or 8 minutes, trimming it. And I get it mocked up into place, and I go, shoot, that looks pretty good. And so then I go grab the highest quality tech screws you could get. And I started putting them in, and Derek actually, with Vice Grip, actually noticed that. He's like, I saw where you actually placed them correctly.
Spaced them.
Yeah. Because I started, and I was like, just put them in there, Tom. And then I was like, oh, you got to put one in the corner, and then about a third of the way down. And I was trying to let go of the reins. And I was, but you still had them in your hand. You're like, I'm not holding on to them. They can fall out at any time. And so once the nose was on it, you step back and you look at it, and you're proud of your creation. You're like,
now I got to build a wing.
now let's build a wing. So we built the wing, and I think it took the most time. I actually paid like $45 for another actual import wing that I'd found at one of the swap meets. And that again,
it all stayed on through the race too.
Yeah, and we built it out of the highest quality thin aluminum we could. And it had at least 3 or 4 long tech screws through some of it. And but it was the downforce, I could tell it was dramatic,
but not enough to win.
No, we were in the back.
The wing on the back, did that create too much downforce? And was you not getting enough traction with the front wheel drive? Did you think about that?
I don't know. I was laughing so much in all reality. I was having a good time. All the way in the back, you get to see the full screen. Like when you're up front, all you get to see is the other guy. Like you're the one. Like it's just an open road. But back there in the back, it was kind of sweet.
They did qualifying, if people don't know. There's videos out there. The night before, they did a half a lap. And since it is a minivan, they had to get out of the vehicle, unstrap, because you had to be harnessed in.
One van at a time.
One van at a time. Time them. Stop in a stop box, like an autocross. Run out, grab a baby and groceries, and put them in your van. Run around and put your hands on the hood. Timer stop. That's how they figured out the starting order. You throw your baby, it goes all the way through. No, yours bounced off the side.
No, mine goes all the way through.
No, yours goes all the way through. Derek's bounced off the side of it.
Yeah.
Like you throw it right, and you're like putting your hands on. It's like you got to put the baby in. So yeah, that's why you started at the back. You threw your baby because all the windows are out, so the baby goes all the way through.
Like it was one of them. You're trying to have that faster momentum, I guess you'd say, or shave off some time. So yeah.
So this is the poster. I don't know if you can see that. So that's cartoon Tommy right there. That's cartoon Carrie.
Yeah. But you know what I think is so funny is like you said, like I called a bunch of people to be involved in this and they're all like, yeah. And then I didn't tell you what we were doing. Like there was no plan.
Yeah.
We hadn't really.
What's his name? Tyler, the boat racer. He was the same way. And he goes,
yeah.
I don't know what
I'm no idea what we're doing. And we didn't really know at first because we wanted to get the kids
They're doing
involved.
it again this year.
Yeah.
2026. So you'll got your van. Carrie's van's out here. So
we wanted to get the kids involved. We really wanted to do a big wheels race with them, but we couldn't find the big wheels.
Right.
How hard did you think? I never
ask your guy for some big wheels.
Yeah, never thought it would be so hard to find big wheels. We couldn't find them, so we had to go to our plan. I think we were on plan D for that. It wasn't B, it was D. But yeah, we've got some epic plans for this year. So we're gonna mix it up a little bit, but it's still gonna. I guarantee it'll be just as many, if not more, belly giggles.
The stands were packed for the
It was fun.
Saturday night van race. The fans really came out. Of course, you got the Tommy Boshers there. You got this Carrie, and of course it was Vice Grip Garage. So Derek has these huge fans,
right?
And Tom Bailey, the 6 second guy, the drag race guy, and Tyler Spear, and all these social media guys. I mean, we had it was a cool group of people. Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, and I got to announce it, so I had a blast. So
yep, it was awesome. So thank you very much for being involved in that. I think it was epic and fun.
Did the wife think, "What are you doing? You're an idiot"? Like Tyler recently got married.
Yeah.
And like 2 weeks before we called him to ask him, he was the very last invite, like a month before.
Yeah.
And he did one of those waterless boat races where they get he had like a PT Cruiser, and you take an old boat, put it on a cable. There's rules on how you cable it with no trailer, and you drive around this oval race, and the goal is to hit the other guy's boat and break it off the thing. So he did that. And then like 2 weeks later, he tells his new wife, I'm going to go. He's already a nitro boat racer that holds speed records, past ARCA driver. She goes, so this is just my life. You're just going to do stupid shit forever. He goes, yep. Yep. That's what we're doing. Yeah.
I know. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. So glad you guys were part of it.
Oh yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, we've talked about 2.5 hours.
I know. So let's talk about what you've got coming up. Anything new and exciting you have coming up, or just kind of going with the flow right now? No more conversion campers.
No, we've got one that I want to pull something behind my Winnebago, and I want it to fit on a trailer that's no longer than 12 feet, and it's going to be Hellcat powered. And I want it to be like the Winnebago has been very successful to me because it's highly recognizable. The Hellcat
good content, filming content.
It's fun. And like when I proposed this to my wonderful wife, her request, she said, is like, just whatever you do, make it so that the family can enjoy it. So that was me giving that one. So this one, and it's kind of the same way. Like we just want to have something fun. And it's not necessarily a priority, but it's kind of like one of them things. I have to figure out what it is.
And is the plan to have it done for Moparty?
Yeah. Like I want it to be Mopar-ish. It's like some people ask if I'm a Ford guy, Chevy guy, or Mopar guy, and I'm not a Ford guy. Like there's just, it's just not a whole lot, unless it's a 32, 33, 34 Ford. Yeah. That's really about, or a Mercury. Well, Chop Top Mercury is a bucket list car. But that's about all the Fords that I would want in my driveway. But when it comes to GMs and Mopars, I'm all over it. And like one of them, we've talked about doing something LS powered, and that's popular. But I'm also looking at it as an investment. Like with Mopar stuff, there's just fewer people doing it. And I also like how Mopars, there's a personality that comes along with a Mopar. Probably. Like they're usually a bit more vibrant. It's a little bit okay. You can pick out a Mopar guy, a Ford guy, and a GM guy.
The drag racing amazing guy announcer Brian Loans, he says the Mopar guys are the Star Trek fans of the car world.
I could see that, kind of.
Not Star Wars, Star Trek. It's slightly different. But they're nerd about all the little details of all that stuff. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree.
So again, like we've got that we're playing around with. We're doing some barn find stuff. We're dragging in a few of the old cars that's been sitting up for forever. We've got some pretty nice cars going on in the shop right now. So we're going to be continuing to do basically what I was doing, and we're going to be doing the same how-to and entertainment, kind of playing around with some videos. And I'm also planning to.
That's Mercury.
That's Mercury. That's
he's our new guy.
Yeah.
Because I found him in my 40 Merc out back. Name's Merc.
Kimberly doesn't know this, but I'm planning to get started on my first car. I've had it for forever.
Surprise!
Hallelujah.
She's been preaching this for years. Like, why are you working on everybody else's car when you can work on yours? Why are you working on these other cars when you could be working on yours? And I've preached to her that I don't want to get started on it until I can finish it, because you don't want to take it apart and then it gets piled up, and then that's really the end of it.
Right.
And it hasn't run in probably 15 years. So I'm doing barn finds, and I've got a barn find there that's mine. And but with it is I don't want it just up and running. I want it right. So we're going to get it running once again to just enjoy it for a minute. But now that ball is put into motion, and I'm hoping to build it as I've always wanted it. And it's going to be a long journey, but after going to SEMA this year, that was one of the things that really, really made me feel good about the decision I have, is when you have people of the industry that you respect, and companies of the industry that people know, and they physically reach out to you to say, you let me know when I can help you, and I want to help you because you've helped me for years. Or I want to see you succeed because I like what you stand for. And in a way, it's like you kind of live life as doing right, and you think you're doing right, and you hope you're doing right. But it's wild how a few conversations can kind of enforce that and actually encourage you to do better. And so that's my goal.
And it's nice to know that some of these people do have your back.
In all reality. So it's a lot more of this stuff. Like the car world is huge, but it's really not. Normally the way it works is, there's somebody, it ain't but one or two or maybe three people down the line that would know the other person in all reality.
Oh yeah. Like, it's a big, small community.
For sure. And you learn which ones are good and which ones aren't, and which ones that goes with everything, everyday life, and even business and all, but just knowing what it is and what we're trying to do. And I'm extremely excited. It's like going down the path of what we're doing with the show is, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't. But whenever I read the comments that people read or write to us, and 98% to 99% of ours is positive. And that makes me go, man, we're doing something right. And our numbers aren't 500,000. Our numbers aren't all that kind of stuff. But I go, our numbers are solid. Like our views and likes and all that stuff. And so that again, you go.
So we're hoping them numbers will come our way when you share this podcast on all that.
I don't mean, man,
because your one video when you did the why you left this show, and it was very long. It was very good. You did a very
Mhm.
professional way of explaining it, kind of like you did here.
Mhm.
And that kind of went a little viral. That got some good numbers. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
Because it's, it's, there's no reason to drag people through the trenches. There's no reason to I've always been told to take the highest road because it has the best view.
Mhm.
And if you kind of keep that in mind, there's times you can put people in their place, and sometimes people may need to be put in place.
Yeah.
But in all reality, you can't fix stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
But people
sometimes
wanted to know why their favorite guy wasn't there anymore.
Yeah,
So you
so-
kind of had to tell people, and hey, here, this is what I'm doing now. But that place, I mean, wasn't a terrible place. You were there 19 years.
No, like it is. Like I'm very thankful for.
I was
what
there
they-
too before I didn't get renewed. I didn't leave on my own. They just didn't renew me.
Yeah.
So the
You
2
know,
years in
yeah.
TV, that's kind of what a lot of people do. It's 2
Mhm.
years and out, or 4
Yeah.
or 5 years. And
Yeah.
I think the next biggest, longest one on there was KT, I think.
Mhm.
I mean, you was on TV longer than that Foose guy.
Mm.
I mean, he still bit here and there, but
Yeah.
consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing record.
Well, and
Because
that's
TV
like,
does not last like that.
right.
It doesn't usually. So
And that says something for that company too.
Yeah.
Like to have an entity that lasts that long.
yeah. And they're still doing good stuff up there. They got a bunch of new.
Mhm.
Some of the. I mean, not guys when I was there, but some of the camera guys are still there. Some of the, and they're still doing good stuff. They change stuff as more truck stuff, and then this and that, and I see them at a lot of the events now, which they didn't do events when I was there. And they have a trailer. They go out and promote the shows, and
Yeah.
I was pretty upset this last one. I seen them at I think the Triple Crown, because they used to show the old hosts too. It's like, look at me when I was younger, and I was like, I stood there waiting. They're like, sorry, you're not gonna pop up there. We put all the current hosts up there. It's like, oh man, you had one thing and it took it away. So yeah.
No, but it's good, and especially like with what you're doing now with social media and everything, and yes, you might, like we were talking earlier on some of the comments of people making the negative posts.
But there's
You
just
know, but
negative people.
The positive ones, if you're making, you're turning one person into a car guy,
Mhm.
you're doing what you need to do. You're sparking that one person, with whatever video you're doing, you've succeeded. So
So
yeah.
the real question is, what kind of stuff does Hammer like, the boy?
I know, where did the nickname Hammer come from? Is that appropriate for this conversation?
Yeah, no, it's all like
I just have this picture of him running around as a little kid in diapers, swinging a hammer around. Yeah.
There for a while, he could tear up a bunch.
Yeah.
And his tool, like his mama calls him Taz a lot of times because he used to be really like that. Cause I'm sitting here thinking about I had this lady one time talk about, she's like, I think my kids, I should get them on medication. And we were around them, and I was like, them kids are just fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
And Gage was a little more, that was his real one, but Hammer was a little more excited than he was. And I was like, man, that kid's me. Double dose, big man. And I don't think, I just don't know. But no, Hammer is just, it come up of basically of that little guy. He'd come in the shop, he'd drag a hammer off, and he'd go beating on a piece of wood or whatever. And, and he would ride his tricycle. He'd have it stuck in his side. And, there was we had nice cars sitting in the shop. And I remember people going, are you worried about him? I'm like, yeah. But,
Yeah.
But no, because he knows that you got to
Yeah.
teach kids not to do certain things.
Yeah.
You got to be a parent.
She still laughs at me we go to a store where there's breakables, because I was going to car shows and stuff. She still laughs at me because I was taught to do that. She'll catch me. I'll walk around,
Hands
hold my
behind
hands behind my back, so I don't swing my hands. It's I still do that. Yeah, I can hear my dad's voice still.
No,
Don't touch on it. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's quite he's awesome. My daughter, she's into cars, some shit, and sometimes I go they just entertain it because dad's into it. But we have a little small little backstory on my daughter. Is I told my daughter she wanted a Challenger. She was just she's like, Dad, I want a Challenger. I want this, and I said, well, if you're gonna get a Challenger, you're not getting a V6. One, nobody wants a V6, and two, I can't have a daughter of mine driving in a V6. So, we'd walk or ride around and she'd pick out some and she'd talk. And what's great with all the kids is you would like, for me, it's like, you don't have to tell me what you like, just tell me what you don't like, because that is actually making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were going around and seeing stuff, she would say, I don't like this color, I don't like that color. Well, when it started coming up the time for her to start getting a car, I'm like, we need to start narrowing it down. And so with it, it's like, you're not getting a Hellcat. You're really not getting an SRT8. If I can't have a Hellcat, you sure the heck. But an RT car will be plenty good.
Mhm.
So she starts looking around and she come to the point where she decides she wanted a white one with black stripes. Okay, that should be good enough. Well, we start looking for a car and you can't find one. And then she goes like, well, I will settle, or I would take this color, this color, this color. Still can't find it. And you do find one, it's either wreck, crash, or just not what you need to buy. Well, then one day she finds a pink one. In 2010, they made a very limited run of them that it was a Furious Fuchsia is the color on it. And she comes up and shows me, she's like, Dad, check out this one. And I'm like, oh, cool. So you do some research on it and you realize that they made, it was like 1,000 RTs and then SRT8s. I think they made 300 of them. And then you realize that you're talking to your daughter about something you can't give them because it's rare. Like the fine, and it's an older one. It's a 2010. So you're like, I don't want that old. It's in good condition. Like, darling, we will never find one of those. But I tell you what,
She didn't once say, but you can paint it for me.
that's what happened. I told her that. I said, I tell you what, if we find one, we need to find a black one or a white one so that we can paint it. And if you pop the hood, it'd be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we can make it that color.
Yeah, you don't have to do a full blow apart color change.
And so she's like, oh yeah, we could do that. So then we start looking for a car. And as you're digging around looking for a car, we found one and it was about 4 hours away and it was within our budget and it was lipstick red and she didn't want a lipstick red one, but she was settling for a lipstick red one. So the day of her birthday, me and the wife strike out and go look at this car. We're 5 hours away. We get there and the old man says, yeah, sure, here, and pops shows us the car. We walk around it. Kimberly goes into the interior to look at that. As she does it, I say, pop the hood. Car's bright red, black stripes, Hemi badge on the hood, RT stripes down the side, the right wheels on it, and when he pops the hood, it's got a B6 in it. And I'm furious, but I'm going, like I'm talking myself off the ledge and like just livid on this old man. And I tell Kimberly, close the hood or close the door. We're done here. And she's like, why? It's nice in here. And I'm like, it's a V6. We just drove 6 hours up here for a V6. I never asked the man if it had a V6. I asked him if how it ran, how it drove, because all the photos were of the Hemi badge, the exterior, and it was what it was.
He dummied it up.
And I said, this car ain't supposed to have this stuff on it. And he's like, man, I don't know. I just got the car. And so now we're driving home and I'm thinking to myself, what our goal was is we were going to drive back on my daughter's 16th birthday. She's having a party and we're going to pull up and show her car and she doesn't even know it. Now we're driving home. We're going to miss the party almost and we don't get to come home with a car. So I'm like sucker punched in the gut. I guess it was the next day or so. I find a pink car, and so you're like, "This is weird." How? And I'll say it: the Lord works in mysterious ways. Like Kimberly and I were discussing it, and I said, "It's a little more in our budget, but it's a nicer car.
You don't have to paint it."
Yeah.
And it's like, and two, it's like. It's technically a more special car. So if my daughter understands that, I would rather pay more for this car than more for just a regular one. So we wind up getting the car and then I take it down to a friend of mine's, Mr. Stevens, Stevens Performance, Mopar man.
Yep.
And I talked with him about, he helps me out. He loans me his truck, his basically his car, Harlow, to get it home. We get it home. He handles getting it detailed, getting tires done, servicing on. And I said, I want to surprise my daughter with this car. And he says, cool, stash it here. So we stash it there at his place. We do, we've got a show that we're going to show all of this. And we stage it up as we're shooting a show. And down here in Ted's place, there are Mopars everywhere. He's got some of
You
these
never
nice
took
ones.
me there. You talked about this place for years. You
well, and so I tell Kimberly she's a part of this. I'm like, if y'all get here about lunch, when you come in, y'all can be here. And it's like we're breaking for lunch, and we'll be wrapping up to leave, and I can show y'all around, and we can go to lunch, and Ellie won't ever expect anything. So that's what we do. And she shows up, and as the guys are getting a few beauty shots, and I take Ellie around and I show her some cars that Ted's got. I'm sitting her down in a real deal Hemi 4-speed, like 70 Challenger, 71 Challenger. And I'm like, you realize the car you're sitting in right now, Ellie. I said, sit, close the door, hold the steering wheel, hold that pistol grip shifter. There is not a car more badass than this car in 1970. Like, if you had this, you were top of the food chain. And she's just like, oh, I get it. So I take her from this Hemi car to a Hemi Challenger, a Charger, a 440 RT car. And then we move her around, and she's just like standing there for a minute. And I said, Ellie, I got something I want to tell you. And she looks at me, and it is actually the worst moment, or one of the worst moments ever. Because my daughter's eyes to me when I seen her, it looked like I was about to tell her something horrible. And I said, don't cry. This is something good. Because it literally looked like I was fixing to tell her, like, I got 10 days left. And she's like, well, what's going on, Daddy? And I said, I want to reward you for all the hard work that you're doing. And then they pull this bright pink pearl striped car off. And I said, that's yours. And she loses it. And it's just one of those moments, like, I don't necessarily work hard for me. I work hard for them. And I'm proud of them, and I hope they're proud of me. And doing what I do is really, like, that's just part of it. And like, to see them, it's kind of just a silly car, but it was also an instance that my kids kind of hate each other sometimes. That woman,
that's what they do.
That woman over there is like, you guys are gonna make me get. I mean, she's just like livid. And but in that instance,
Hammer starts it though, right?
No.
It's a good 50-50.
Yeah, it really is. If one's slacking, the other one will take it up. Like, it's just how it works. But we interviewed Hammer about it, and one of the things he said, he's like, it was good to see my sister smile.
Aw.
And when you
in his mind, he goes, I'm expecting something.
So you know, there again, you step back and you go, man, I think I'm doing all right. If them two kids say stuff like that, that means you're doing something. You ask her about it, and she's like, I just hope she don't hurt herself.
Go take it yet?
No.
How old is she now?
19.
Yeah. You're old.
I am, but I look good. So, Hammer's wanting square butt. So we've got one of them run down. And he wants it 4-wheel drive. But he knows what color he wants. He wants it Superman blue and white. So we're going to end up building him something. And I don't know. We're going to put it together. Because my Hammer man, I need him to have some sweat equity in it.
Yeah.
He's like, my sister got a car that was ready to cruise. I got to build mine.
Yeah.
But he's Gage is a different kind of guy, and I mean this in a positive way. Like a couple weeks ago, my little boy's 12 years old, and he rebuilt a carburetor. And it was one of them kind of things. Like I try to, like, I expose the kids to this stuff if they want to be a part of it, but I'm not forcing them into it. If they want to come to Dad, they can come out here and hang out. If they don't, it's fine too. But with Hammer, he was up there at the shops, and he gets bored. Like when
Mhm.
you're building cars, there's a lot of the process that takes too long.
Yeah,
But it's just the
it's
process.
the no fun process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with Hammer, I said, buddy, would you rebuild a carburetor? And Hammer is, from a little kid, has been really, really good at puzzles and match. Like he would kick your butt in the match game,
Mhm.
and you just like you're almost swearing like he's stealing your cards. Like it's like, how's yours this big? And I just had 4, and now you got them all. But we put him on that carburetor, and this little guy just and next thing I know, he's actually putting it back together. And I'm kind of overseeing it, but linkages and stuff. And when we got done, I said, "You realize you just done something that grown men are scared to do?"
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "I don't know the problem, Dad. I mean, just some screws and stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, I get it, but not either because I didn't take a carburetor apart." But it's that intricacy and the puzzle side of it. Because there was when we were taking stuff apart, he was able to pick it back up. And there was one part, there was a flap in it, and I was like, "It goes this way." And he's like, "I don't think so." And I was like, "I don't know." And he was right. I was wrong. And we tried it, but again, it's the part of that like problem solving that you see.
And remembering the
Yeah,
match,
yeah.
come apart. That's how they're
Yep.
back together. Yeah.
And
That's my problem.
he's a guy like from early on. All of his teachers have always told us. They said one thing that's great about him is whenever we ask a question, his answers always are from an opposite side. Majority of the students would tell you the same way, and he's actually gave replies that the teacher goes, "I haven't thought about it." And
Yeah.
it's just a different angle. So there's times like I'll ask him things, and I'm really
See, that was almost like my teachers, but slightly different. They'd be like, "Something wrong."
That's just
There's nothing wrong with this one. Yeah.
What's your favorite color? Potato. That's so
That was him.
Still me.
Yeah. Still is. Yeah. Awesome. Well, again, we have been talking for several hours. So I have 2 questions for you. 2-parter. First part is, what is your favorite show that you like to go to? The second part is, what is one show that your bucket list you've always wanted to go to? You've never been.
Bucket list.
Yeah.
Well, I will say I don't really have a favorite show, but I will tell you because it's easy. And they're my favorite for opposite reasons. I really like you're gonna put me on the spot. Alloway show here in Nashville.
Triple Crown.
Triple Crown.
Yep.
I've never been around such high quality of cars.
And the amount of high quality.
The amount of them. Because you're looking at.
We went to the Roadster show together one time.
Mm-hmm.
When we surprised Chad Terra, we flew down and went to the Grand National Roadster show. I remember that.
Yeah. That is because of the quality and the community.
Yeah.
Like there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of one car. And everybody's like, "No, sure, look at it. Go ahead. You need me to open the door?"
Yeah.
Like you normally don't find that.
Yeah.
And then the second one is Mo Party because it's a good time. Like it's just
they do stuff with that they don't do at any other event.
It's like it's because it's a fun one. Yeah. And it's like
an automotive circus.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So and maybe it's some of it like me being blessed enough to be kind of along with it, being incorporated with it. But I tell people, I'm like, if you aren't into Mopars, like, and again, it kind of goes back to the personality, is the wife will come along to it, and it's vibrant. Like all those crazy colors that Dodges are known for.
Yeah.
You go to a Mustang show, there's like 4 colors. That's really all it's going to be. A black one, a silver one, a red one, and the other color.
Yeah.
And then the third show is the Evansville Shindig.
So we've never been to that. We know people
know a lot
go
about it.
Yeah. Terry got to go to the emergency room at Evansville for the BMX track one time though.
That's kind of neat. First trip I ever went to Las Vegas, I got to sit inside of Thursday. Homeless guy sitting there beside me, hanging out. I'm like, what the heck is this dude doing? But Evansville was a great show, and it's because one is the community and the atmosphere. Like it's very traditional-ish,
Mhm.
you know, because it's kind of like a
There's
custom
always somebody
shop.
chopping a top there
Yeah,
live. And,
like that's neat. And then it's also we went with the RV or the Hemi-Bago in the RV section.
Mm.
There is
Oh, yeah, they do.
a couple hundred retro RVs or campers, and there are scenes.
Yeah.
Like it's just amazing. The community there, they do stuff with the kids. They have a grown up party too, and like all of it, just all together was great. So, you know, I remember some television hosts that used to give me crap about cars of like, "Ah, so you're gonna go to a car show and sit behind it in your color matching lawn chair." And I would say, yeah, and what's great is with after we build this thing, it's actually worth something. But it's also a part of like the family and the environment.
Mhm.
Not saying the other places can't do all that, but those
I say that at the Triple Crown because they give me a microphone. I can't believe that stuff. But it's like, if all those people would still show up, like, hey, these people are going to be, and there's no cars, half the people still going to show up because of the community and the relationships with all the people. It's, yeah.
Just like the feel good vibe and the feel good
Yeah.
reasons is why, you know. But that's the three. Like that's the top. Like my bucket list show. And I'm pardon my ignorance for it, but it is the show in Salina, the
Lead
lead
sled?
sled spectacular.
So
Oh, here you go.
this year, I'm working really hard to get my truck done. We're going to try to put a drive together, leaving here, go to Brad Starks in Paducah, grab him, shop tour. St. Louis, Classic Car Studio, shop tour. Get to Kansas City, go to Pete and Jake's, get to Wichita, go to a private collection that has Pebble Beach cars and an Amber winner, and then go to Affordable Street Rods, and then end up at the Garage Museum in Salina, Kansas to go to that show. Wow. Be good video content for the
Mark your
channel.
calendar.
Yep. Third full weekend in July this year. It's not the last weekend in July.
At least it won't be hot.
Right.
Well,
But the good part about that show, the best, not the best part, but one of the very good parts about that show is it's right next to the water park.
yeah. Which,
And there's a laser.
same thing in
display.
Bowling Green. They have a good
It's so
water
much
park there.
fun. When you're in Kansas in July.
Yeah, one year it was national news that Salina, Kansas was hotter than Death Valley, California the weekend.
Oh.
The last few years it hasn't been. It was hot last year. A couple of years before it wasn't that bad, but yeah.
The KKOA show is pretty awesome out there. One of the super cool parts about that show that gives me the biggest anxiety is the drags that they do. They go out to the
It's an old airfield
Old
that's
airfield.
condensed down. Arm
like
drop.
Friday night they do arm drop drags.
Huh.
It's epic, but
There's no tech.
it's
One year the fence to keep was snow fence. Now
panic mode.
they have like K-wall and stuff. But the one year, that was the very first time we seen the farm truck guy race.
It's
He was
crazy.
on YouTube already, but before he was on TV. So there's
Mm.
the slow, but then there's always about 8 or 10 heavy cars that comes like,
Yeah.
hey, a little fast. Are they gonna get stopped before they hit the baseball
Mhm.
field?
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a little.
Like the return road is there, and they're sending cars.
And her as an events person,
It's
she
just- I can be
she
there. For
has
about
not made it
20
an hour.
minutes. So I'm there about 20 minutes.
Yeah, because
It's
she was
enough.
just like, I gotta go. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
you
like
don't
this-
want to be at the scene of the accident.
yeah,
No, but it is.
because we
it's
went the
really-
very first year we went there. It's like we got to see this because this ain't gonna last very long.
Yeah,
Well,
and
I've
they're
been
still doing
20
it.
years.
Still
You know?
doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then
I
they-
remember being at the first one, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
They had a good run of 3 times.
Right.
But they'll pile people in no helmets. They don't check seat belts. They just put them in. You can put people in a rumble seat, go down, just
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
What if y'all get sued? We ain't even supposed to be here. You're breaking the law.
Right.
But the
That's what it does
city,
that.
it's free to watch.
Yeah.
The city comes out in groves.
Well,
for
it's
that.
free now. It's free for as long as you're a part of the car show.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
the city,
Yeah.
they do. You have to pay if
You're
you're not
doing
part of the
that
car
right.
show.
Yeah. Teddy's like, yeah, you sue us, you're not gonna get nothing.
Right.
Hey, milk a turnip.
Yeah.
Salina's
No,
a
it's
cool
super
town, though.
cool.
They fully
Super
support that town.
All right, boys. We can sit here and talk forever, but we're gonna wrap it up tonight.
Tell everybody where they can find you on all your social media channels to follow along. You can go back and watch your Winnebago build and all kinds of stuff from the shop. There's he's working on a really cool wagon there. There's a lot of good stuff going on.
It's pretty easy. If you know my name, that's all you have to look it up. All you need to do is add the in front of it. It's the Tommy Boshers on all the platforms. So we're YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and even Marketplace.
Awesome.
Because Tommy MF Boshers was already taken.
Well, there was a couple other ones that I was going with, but we're a G-rated, and I want to make sure
We have a friend that he does all the country videos, and for the Sphere and stuff, he is Sean MF Silva.
Yep.
That's him.
Yep. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why wouldn't you be?
Right.
The Tommy Boshers again. So thanks for the wife for bringing him to getting him here.
Thank you,
Carrie's, I go,
Kimberly.
we got to get somebody. This was a couple weeks ago. For the week before we go off to Barrett. It's like, oh, I got one. They're coming to the house. Who's coming? She goes, Tommy's coming. I go, bullshit. It's coming. So
Nope.
yeah,
Kimberly
we've been
Day
wanting to do
happened.
this for a long time, so we really appreciate Tommy coming to be a guest on here.
Yep.
Awesome dude, good friend. We had a lot of fun together. I still remember about every time I still drive down to the fancy part of Franklin, the shopping area. I remember we had that really good burger joint that's not there.
Mhm.
We were driving in your truck and you had train horn in your white Dodge, and he's like, watch this. The trophy wives were down, strutting, and he, and then he's like, I love this horn. Harry still wants a train horn in our orange truck.
I do. I do really bad.
I've seen a dude about jump in the trunk of his car. I've seen one soccer mom jump in the other soccer mom's arms, and another lady learn kung fu and pull the head out of that jogger beside her. It was so awesome.
Heard men scream like girls.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
It scared me a few times.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've screamed. I've watched. My nephew was sitting in the truck one day, and he was like, you were locked eyes, and you're going like, oh God, something's fixed. No, you're not going to do that. And then you jump out of your seat, and you even know it's coming. So, good times.
That's awesome.
We want to thank Tommy Boshers for being a guest on the Strange Motion Way podcast. I think we're going to have him on again. I have to get him on before Mo Party to talk about
Yeah,
what's coming
absolutely.
on. So,
Yeah.
So,
Maybe this time we'll go to his shop.
yeah.
Welcome.
We do.
Do you have internet down there?
It's called the interweb down there.
Yeah.
It's pull start.
That's
Oh,
cool.
okay,
That's
that'll work,
awesome.
yeah.
All right.
We're
Perfect.
allowed.
Thank you, Tommy Boshers.
Hey welders, ready to upgrade your gear and save some serious dough in the process? The Miller Build with Blue Savings and Rebate Program has you covered. Find amazing deals and cashback rebates on a wide range of Miller products, from welders to plasma cutters and everything in between, all backed by our 3-year warranty. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Take advantage of the Miller Build with Blue program now. Visit us online or stop by your nearest Miller distributor today to start saving.